evil science and magic buddies.
Hello, welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast. I am Mark Storrs, and with me as always is...
Crass.
And...
Rob Morphy.
Holy shit, we're back together.
I'm looking
It's
people
happening.
in the fucking face.
Christopher is to my left, you are to my right.
I know.
As it is, as it happens.
We're here. We did it.
I can't
happening.
believe it.
I mean,
Months.
yeah.
Lifetime. It feels like it's been a fucking lifetime
It does feel
since
pretty
I've
long.
done anything but talking to a Yeti in my little old den surrounded by my books and not being quite as lonely as I might be because I get to hear voices, but now it's proper.
Yeah, now we get to hang out. We are in our proto studio that we're putting together, and we got some banners and some soundproofing and some mattresses and 3 dope cats that are hanging out upstairs.
Hell
so,
yeah.
Yeah,
3
so
dope
we got our
cats.
new space, and we're here, and we're doing it. We're back together. Welcome to Listener Stories 10.
10.
Where we're going to round this out. We will be revisiting this at some point in the future. So if you did send your story and you haven't heard it yet, we have everything saved. And at some point, we're going to be revisiting these, so don't worry about that. But before we get started, as always, Patreon. Patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. $1 is a shout-out.
Mm-hmm.
$5 is, in fact, a shout-out and some bonus audio.
Damn.
There it is. So
A discount.
for our shout-outs this week, we have Dan or Hippo Crisis.
Perfect.
Those are options.
No, Dan Hippo Crisis.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. I thought you said Dan or.
That's what I heard too.
and It says Hippo Crisis next to his name like that. See?
Oh,
Yeah, so, you know,
nice. Maybe
cool.
that's his last name. But Dan,
Could be.
thank you.
Totally. Steve Forcell.
Mr. Fussell. Kudos to you.
B. Sullivan.
Oh, B.
Nah.
God bless you.
Athena Bovier.
Oh.
I'm not
Aren't
sure
you
about-
a fancy pants.
I'm not sure about the last name. Could
Yeah.
be Bovier.
Could be Bouvier.
Could
Yeah.
be. Not sure.
We don't know. And you know what? As always, we'll repeat it if we fucked it up. But
Yeah,
beautiful
totally.
name either way.
And rounding it out, we have Dave.
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 What up, Dave?
Big
Thank you so
Dave.
very much
You
for your
brother?
Or
contribution.
little Dave.
It could be my brother. No, my brother. I don't
Medium
think.
Dave?
He doesn't even listen to the pod.
No, my
Oh,
brother
no.
doesn't listen. My wife recently started listening to podcasts and made it clear that she would not be listening to us.
Makes sense.
Yep. Instead, she's into true crime. She listens to Morbid, and I got her to listen to the last podcast on the left, so that's dope because that's one of my favorite podcasts.
Sweet. You know, something you can do as a couple.
But
Yeah.
now she's freaked out, and
Well, yeah.
I had to get her pepper spray.
You get that shit in your mind.
Yeah,
it's hard to
pepper
wash
spray.
it
I had
out.
to get her pepper spray.
I need a pepper spray, a machete, daggers, a crossbow.
She asked for a knife. She's like, "Oh, Marky, could you get me a knife? She wanted a switchblade. She goes one that goes choo 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 choo."
Oh, my.
She wants to be a gang leader?
Yeah,
She wants
what's
to be a
up?
scabon?
That's true.
I was like, "Honey, it's a switchblade. Those are illegal, and I can't get you one." I'm like, "And furthermore, like you're better off with pepper spray because if you have a knife and God forbid someone gets it from you, you've given them a weapon."
Yeah, that's
So-
true. I
but-
mean, a knife should come with a lot of training. That's just not the gift of self-protection.
Yeah, but you can,
That
buy,
is-
you can
I
get
mean-
knives anywhere.
Well,
You
I
can
know.
go to Walmart
I
and
know.
just buy all kinds of knives.
Just having a knife on you does not guarantee you can fucking protect yourself.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, is there like a knife training school that you know that you're not telling us about?
Oh yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the underground knife club.
100%. Yeah,
Is this?
it's an
The
adjunct
other
to my
UFC.
call. It's something I do on the side.
I was gonna say this is what you do on the
Self-defense
side.
with Uncle Rob. Yeah,
Nice,
it's a great
nice.
program, and we'll be plugging it later.
Awesome. So yes, thank you all so very much for joining us for Listener Stories 10. We're gonna go not a total spoiler here, but we're gonna be talking about some ghosts.
Yeah, you picked these out.
I did, yes.
So Mark went through, and we have a vast archive now,
Quite a bit.
and I love it all. Like, I have read through almost every single one of the accounts, except for the most recent ones that have come in, and they're all fascinating. You know, we usually just pick based on either themes or just randomly, you know, trying to like put things together that'll be a little bit disparate and entertaining, but they're all fascinating, and I thank you all for doing it. And it's really helped us get over this this hump, especially through the first half of the summer. We will be getting back to research stories starting next week, but I'm glad we got through 10 full episodes of completely brand new, except for the people that experienced it, of course. Paranormal accounts that we get to share with the world.
And we are going to be revisiting that at some point. So if you have not heard your story, I will repeat this. Hang on, hold in, whatever you got to do. Strap yourself down.
Do whatever you got to do.
We're going to get to them all eventually. So, but let's kick it off. Listener Stories 10. Rob, scare me.
Oh, I'll try to scare you. And first off, yes, it is bourbon with frozen strawberries.
I've
Yep.
been hearing about this concoction the entire
Do
time.
you see how beautiful it is?
Wait, you still
How
have more of that
fruity and
bourbon?
lovely?
Yeah.
I don't have it here. I just actually poured myself a cup of bourbon and left.
Oh, you
really
brought.
quick.
I was gonna say, where the fuck did you get that
Yeah.
from? Because
But I mean, I'd be glad to go back and get the bourbon so we can all share.
Did you pour the bourbon in the cup, then jump in the van and come here?
I surely did.
Ah, yes.
Yes. But I didn't drink so much as a sip because you know what? Safety first,
Until
motherfucker.
you get pulled over and they're like, "What's in that nice Yeti cup, Mister?" And you're like, "Nothing. It's not bourbon.
Strawberries
Do you
and
wanna-
tea.
certainly not bourbon
Do you
and
want to
fruit.
learn how to knife fight and we're an underground club?"
All right, yeah, don't drink and drive. All right, that's the first PSA.
But you didn't. You didn't.
No,
So
I
we're
didn't
good.
at all.
Okay.
At all.
All right, back on track, boys.
Okay. So the first story comes to us from Diego.
Yes.
And it begins man, it's good to see you guys.
I
It's a
was
last
just gonna say-
digression, but man, this feels right.
It does.
It's like coming home
We
again.
are a little bit further apart from each other.
Well, the
on
table, is a different shape.
This,
and I'm staring at our banner.
That's
which
fine.
Is weird, but
that actually might help the recording that we're a little farther apart.
Yeah, it can't hurt.
Yeah.
But still, compared to how we were, we're so close.
I know.
So very
Yet
close.
so far away.
All right.
Hearts and hands.
First of all, this is how the story begins, not me.
Awesome.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to share my story. It has taken me a long time to come to terms with what happened in my house in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I am finally ready to share. I'm glad. Took a while.
Yeah.
and we're the ones.
There you go.
To give a little background, my family, mom, dad, older brother, and I, moved to Tennessee in 1995 from Mexico. Oh, I wonder where from. I love Mexico. I'm fascinated by the culture, the cinema, the whole nine yards.
No, same
I
here,
love it.
totally.
Food, obviously,
Yeah.
so much. But anyway, we moved to a very old ranch-style home in Knox County and did not realize this home would be the site of some of the most harrowing and terrifying experiences I have ever experienced. I am convinced that many occurrences have been suppressed in my mind, but I want to share with you the memories I do remember. My hand is shaking as I type this out, as these experiences haunt me to this day and are not easy to talk about. That's like Poe. That's like classic
Yeah, I know, right?
horror literature.
Yeah.
My hand trembles as I write these words,
Yeah.
but you must know the horrible truth
Yeah.
of Knoxville.
I freaked myself out when I was reading these because I read these in my basement in front of my computer, obviously.
Right.
That's why I picked these two because they fucking freaked me out so bad.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Spoilers.
The activity in the house first began with the usual paranormal stuff you hear about. Missing items, misplaced/moved belongings, strange creaks and noises around the house. Nothing that can't be logically explained. It wasn't until we decided to add a room to the home about 4 to 5 months in that shit really began to hit the fan. I began to experience unusual things a few times a week to almost every single night thereafter. Oh, so it exponentially
Yeah.
increased.
Yeah, it
Okay.
ramps up quick.
To give some perspective as to the layout of the home, upon entering, the living room is the first thing that you see. To the left is a small hallway leading to my parents' bedroom. To the right of the living room is a very long and narrow hallway that leads to a guest room, then the room my brother and I shared for a short while. Okay, so the long, narrow hallway is never a good time. And why do you tuck the kids in the back of the house? Like,
Yeah.
mom and dad living room, long, narrow, terrifying hallway, guest room, which may or may not get used regularly, and then further back, as far away as it can be so you can't hear the kids scream in
exactly.
horror.
That's the deal.
The kids, the boys,
It's parents. Yeah.
fucking parents.
My kids are on the total opposite side of the house from my wife and I.
Yeah, but you guys are prolific bangers.
Yeah, you guys sleep in.
So it's
you guys
the least you
sleep
can
in the garage.
You're
now.
actually doing them
Yeah,
a real
actually,
service
yeah.
at this point. Yeah, that's different. Okay.
Is it though? Maybe they were prolific bangers.
They
Maybe
could
they
be.
were.
You're right. Maybe the parents were sparing Diego and his brother the horrible, scarring bed spring squeaks
Well, now we have that
of your parents
Now that
wrestling.
now that
quote,
thought's in
unquote.
Diego's head. I'm sorry, Diego.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Diego. I mean, they only did it twice and under the auspices of God and church
There you
to
go.
make you. So it's
Boom.
okay. Okay. The hall ends with a bathroom and the entryway to the kitchen and an extra room directly across from my brother and I's room. Oh, yeah, so an empty room full of evil.
Yeah, if it was part of the expansion, totally.
Essentially, my room was on the complete opposite end of the house from my parents' room,
Yeah.
which we already gathered. Anyway, now that the picture is set, I will describe several of my experiences. While my brother slept in the room, I would experience nightly terrors in which I would see someone standing at my doorway.
Okay.
The fuck?
Sucks.
It would never move, but the only way to describe it was a tall, shadowy figure with noticeably long, white, string-like hair. Oh, so this is like a hippie version of the preacher from Poltergeist 2, which,
Pretty
by the
much,
way,
yeah.
is the scariest part of that movie. I mean, the
Oh, yeah,
tequila
100%.
worm puke thing is the coolest part.
Yeah.
Thank you, Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah, but that guy.
But that
the
guy.
preacher
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
is like,
God is in his holy
yeah.
Oh, it gives
So
me,
gross.
make my balls crawl
Yeah,
just doing
yeah,
that.
no, it's gross.
So anyway, stringy hair. It would watch me several times a week, and I would feel so terrified that all I would be able to do is cover my head with a blanket and pray it would go away. Man. I told my parents what I had seen after the first night, but they merely chalked it up to me having had a nightmare, quote unquote. Typical.
Yeah.
Eventually, it got to the point where I began to sleep on the side with my blanket over my head with a small opening for me to look through. This continued for 2 years until my brother got his own room. That is when things really took a turn for the worst. Okay, so nightly visits by stringy fucking white-haired nightmare stander in the doorway. And your brother's there, so you're not even alone in the room. So there's a little dubious comfort of at least not being the only human being there. And now shit goes fucking south. So that fucking blows.
Yes, not good.
All right. I remember sleeping at night and seeing the same shadowy figure standing at my doorway. Feeling just as terrified as the previous time seeing it, I did the usual go-to and covered my face with my blanket, hoping upon uncovering myself, it would be gone. This time was very different. Upon uncovering my face, the same figure was standing in the room merely feet from my bed. I panicked and covered my head and began wondering if I was going mad. Upon uncovering my head once again, I saw that it had gone, and with a sigh of relief, I turned onto my back. This was not a good move.
No.
Oh, yeah, you don't turn your back on the evil.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
Diego, and you were young. You were young. This is not an indictment against you, buddy, but oh, good Lord. Upon turning onto my back, I saw the same figure was now floating over my bed on the ceiling.
No,
Perfect.
Jesus, not where you want that person to be.
No, it's absolutely not where you want that person
Could
to
you
be.
please go back in the hallway? What the fuck?
Can I make it a tiny bit worse here?
Sure.
And by tiny bit, I mean a fuck ton. I was on the top bunk, so you can imagine how close it is now.
Dude.
What the fuck?
So I didn't even know it was a bunk bed situation.
I didn't
Yeah.
either.
And that's okay. But when it's suddenly floating on the ceiling and you're on your bed, that's nightmarish and hellish.
Yeah.
When you're on the top bunk and it's like 7.5 inches from you,
Yeah.
or however fucking
It's
much
laying on
clearance,
top of you, basically. Yeah.
it's a horror show.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a bad fucking scene.
Hopefully, you have like 12-foot ceilings.
Let's
maybe.
hope. But
You
even
know.
then, it's still...
It's terrible.
The only way I can accurately describe this humanoid-like entity is that it now had a mix of gray alien and very tall crypt keeper. The one from the show, we all know, the puppet, the
Sure.
classic.
Yep.
The second I saw it, I covered my face once again and felt absolutely petrified with fear. So again, I don't mean to keep digressing, but that's a really vivid description. So you have something that's probably unnaturally thin, bulbous head, probably large dark eyes, but it's got stringy white hair. And so it looks possibly, based on the crypt keeper, desiccated, which means it's
Yeah.
a weird, stringy, white-haired zombie gray,
Yeah.
which is just a
Yeah,
fucking
I
living
guess.
horror show.
Yeah. Huh.
It's I want to puke in my mouth.
Yeah.
It's a bad scene. The second I saw it, I covered my face once again and felt absolutely petrified with fear. Then I felt the figure lay on top of me as I lay frozen on my back.
This is
Fucking
where
That's what they do.
everything gets really bad from this point on.
No, it was bad.
Well, no,
It was bad.
It's gonna get worse. Don't
This
worry.
is where it gets god fucking awful, evidently. Oh, okay. All right. I remember hearing it breathing.
God, it's so gross.
Sounding like a quiet, almost asthmatic wheeze, and how cold its breath felt. So
it was you.
It's kind of like listening to the podcast the last 4 months, except there was less pouring of whiskey.
Who's the guy that sounds like Darth Vader taking a piss?
It's Uncle Rob with his fucking asthma pouring his whiskey. God damn it.
People have been very accepting of your asthma.
Oh, thank you guys. You know, I'm an old fatty with asthma, and we had really sensitive mics. But now we're back to classic, hopefully not as sensitive mics.
Hopefully.
And maybe I can hide my shame a little better.
There you go.
All right, but back to the cold, icy breath that he fucking felt. I remembered the distinct earthy smell emanating from its mouth.
That
Earthy?
That part fucks
Earthy.
me up.
I know. I don't like that. Is
When
it
you
like
can-
from the grave?
That's what
The
I mean.
dirt,
That sounds
minerally?
undead-ish.
When you can smell its breath.
Oh, you shouldn't ever have that option.
No, as you're a kid and the thing's laying on top of you in the top of your fucking bunk bed. Fuck.
So it's on him. It's
Yeah, it's
basically-
laying on him.
on top of him. Its breath is icy. Now
it
it's,
smells like
now
earth.
it's earthy as it breathed inches from my face. The only barrier being my blanket, and you can smell and feel cold through a blanket. It's just too close.
Yeah,
it's just too fucking
fuck
close.
that.
It felt like hours passed, frozen in terror, feeling completely helpless. I understand that. This occurrence was something that began to happen almost every night, and only happened to me. Maybe because I was the youngest, he suggests. Throughout my time living in the house, things progressively got worse. How does it get worse? This every night? Fucking Johnny Earth breath?
Yeah,
with his
really,
fucking
every night he's-
scummy crypt keeper fucking gray.
Dude, imagine every night you're going to bed knowing that you're going to start to fall asleep and this thing's going to appear and lay on you and breathe.
Yeah.
All right, it's probably not an escape, and I know it's Monday morning quarterbacking years later, but maybe switch to the bottom bunk and see, like, maybe this thing can only float a certain way. Maybe it doesn't know how to negotiate to float beneath a bunk.
The bottom bunk ruined it.
I don't know. I don't know the limitations of
the
dead
helium
aliens.
demon. It has to float.
It's
It's like he's on top of the mattress going, I want to breathe on you. And
Yeah.
you're like, fuck you, I'm on the bottom bunk. I
And
don't know
then-
how to get there.
I can't. I'm helium.
I'm helium. What the fuck?
what fucked me up about this is being a kid. He's experiencing this every night.
Every night.
That's fucked
being a
up.
kid.
Like, I had weird visions. We all did.
Yeah,
You had
totally.
giants that were
Yeah.
fucking tormenting you. I had weird fucking amputated spider babies with telltale heart eyes in the corner of my room.
Yeah.
We all had our fucking things, but they were intermittent. They could be relieved by, I don't know, just getting up and turning on lights, maybe.
Not this every night, dude.
No, Diego
Fuck.
is fucking living a nightmare, and my heart goes out, needless to say. I would be lying in my bed reading a book with all the lights on when I would begin to hear scratching under my bed. Oh, course. Yeah. So both sides. So something is on the underbunk.
Yeah.
My whole theory shot to shit right
Yeah,
there.
it might be something different. You never know.
Okay. All right. Scratching under the fuck-sucking bed. I would peek under and be overcome with the same paralysis I would feel at night and the feeling of the figure lying on top of me. I would feel it pull me off my bed and onto the floor into the middle of the room and stare into my soul as I kept my eyes closed in sheer terror. All right, so
Yeah.
Diego,
Why do you think I picked this?
I want to hug you so much right now, buddy.
That was terrifying.
I don't know how you're okay. I really don't know how you're okay. I hope you have a very supportive family.
There's more.
I hope you've got a loved one or multiple loved ones that are there for you because holy shit, buddy.
Yeah, this is fucked up.
Holy fucking shit. Okay. My mom would later recount several times in which she would walk into my room and see me lying in the middle of the room on my back. She would ask me what I'm doing, to which I would essentially snap out of it and tell her I was fine, too scared to talk about what had happened. Oh, that's actually really sad.
Yeah.
I remember if I slept on my chest, I would feel like a force would pick me up, 2 to 3 feet by my shirt and drop me back on the bed. This happens so often that to this day I am reluctant to sleep on my chest. Not because I'm afraid I'll be picked up now that I'm a 220-pound adult man. Good luck. Nice.
Right.
Beef. But because something in my subconscious mind tells me that it is not a good position to be in. I totally get that. My parents would tell me that I just had nightmares all the time, but they did not realize this nightmare was something I experienced every night. Years later, having endured this every night, I began to see an additional apparition in the home, of course. Why would it get better? I began to see a young boy in the long stretch of narrow hallway. I told you, narrow hallways.
Yeah.
They're the fucking worst. That my bedroom was situated in. I would see him peeking out of different rooms at me while I was in the hallway, only to disappear out of sight into the rooms, only to see that he had disappeared upon my investigation. That would be the extent of my interaction with him, but I would see him often and only during the daytime. Oh, that's interesting.
Weird.
It makes
Isn't
me
that
wonder, just pissing speculation out there before we finish the story, like, is this thing afraid of the spectral, zombified, stringy-haired gray?
How many daytime ghosts do you hear about?
Well, I mean, it's not entirely
it's not
uncommon.
Yeah.
but
I mean, there's different types of apparitions,
Right.
and obviously poltergeist is a whole different thing. But no, there's plenty of daytime ghosts. That's not so rare. But it's interesting to have one thing that only comes at night and you have physical interactions with, which is
Right.
really key and very interesting, and something that you can just see apparently visually, though maybe you could have physical interactions with it, I don't know, during the day. I mean, it's intriguing, but it's not really indicative of anything concrete.
Mhm.
But whatever. Okay. That would be the extent of my interaction with him, but I would see him often, and only during the daytime. I just reread the same part, I apologize. The apparition did not appear to be malicious, unlike the figure that tormented me at night. He gave me the impression that he was merely an observer, which was comforting. In a way, that ghost did not want to mess with me, unlike the Crypt Keeper entity. Over a decade later, now living in Atlanta, I decided to look up the address on Google Maps to show a friend and noticed that the home was now the site of a home business. Upon seeing that, I decided that I would reach out to them out of curiosity and see if they had any similar experiences. That takes balls. Honestly, it does.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
first off, to share these experiences, I mean, granted, anonymously with us, there's a little bit of a safety factor.
Right,
But
right.
to actually call up the people living in the house I mean, it takes the courage of your convictions, and I got to give
Yeah,
them a lot of credit for that. The business would later reply saying that they had never had more electronic issues in the home than anywhere they had ever been. All right, so they had more there, and that strange things occurred frequently. He told me that his wife and kids complained about seeing a little boy wandering around the hallway and were scared to live in the home. And they're getting the best of it.
yeah, really.
The
Yeah,
fucking
right, I
best
know.
of
There's
it.
no fucking Crypt Keeper entity.
The man also described seeing a tall shadow occasionally when he was working in his office, which actually turned out to be my old bedroom.
Dun, dun, dun. Uh-oh.
He told me he always felt like he was being watched and felt generally uneasy in that room in particular. What is most peculiar about this is that I had not described any of my experiences prior to him telling me this, yet our stories appeared to line up. I showed my parents the message thread I had with this business, and it was then that they confirmed that they believed the house was haunted. Well, I mean, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it takes some time, but
In
sometimes
retrospect.
Yeah.
clearly.
I mean,
Maybe.
nobody wants to live their whole life with the people that they love amongst the most, which it would hopefully be your
Right.
parents if you have a good relationship with them. I would hope that they would be the people you would cherish near the top of the list. But if they never believe you, that just hurts.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Or you would just think that you're going fucking crazy,
Of
especially when
course.
you're a kid and like literally no one believes you,
Oh, he
and this
said
thing
it
is
dead up.
laying on you every night,
Yeah.
and then you just think that
And
you're
the brother
nuts.
gets to scoot, and
Yeah.
it gets fucking worse.
Yeah.
And it gets fucking worse. Like, I mean, we all had everyone is growing up is hard and it sucks, but if you know every night
This thing is gonna
when
visit
you want
you,
to
yeah.
sleep and just
Yeah, I
get
know.
some and even if it's a fucking Friday night, you're like, I can sleep in tomorrow, but
No,
once
you
I lay
can't.
down, and you know what, he probably compartmentalized. I don't know, I would like to hear if Diego did or not, but like, you know, you can compartmentalize like really problematic and dangerous and scary parts of your life. But once you're back in that situation, like the terror and dread floods
Right.
back.
Yeah,
So maybe
yeah.
during
Yeah.
the day he's in the sandbox, he's at the playground, he's fucking Little League doing whatever the fuck he's doing, having fun. And then finally, you know, 9:30 rolls by and parents are like, time for bed. And all of a sudden that fucking ice water runs down your gullet. And
Yeah.
you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's
This
terrible.
again.
It sucks.
Oh, my heart goes out. Okay. All right. So the parents, they didn't want to say anything. This is his parents explaining how they dealt with the situation. They didn't want to say anything that would scare me even more and tried to bury it under the guise I was having nightmares. Oh, that's a
it
misfire.
sucks, eh.
That's a misfire. Maybe a good intentioned one, but a
Well,
serious
they're
misfire.
trying to protect him in a way.
Well,
but just not in a good way.
A better way is move the bedroom. A better way is, and I know everyone can't just move your house. I know you can invest a lot of money in a house.
Yeah.
And I mean, my parents were definitely
Yeah.
making ends meet month to month, week to week. So I know what it's like. You can't just drop a house and fucking go find
No.
another place.
Yeah.
But maybe do more than just say it's a bad fucking dream, Diego.
Right.
You
Well, you know, they're trying to.
No, I mean they could have been like, "Hey, let's have a camp out in the living room and see
Yeah.
if anything happened
like
for a couple
forever
nights." You know
until
what I
you
mean?
until you leave the house. We're going to sleep in the living room together.
Or let
'cause-
them try the guest room or the other empty room across the hall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Even
because
though
if it
probably
didn't,
wouldn't be
if
any
it didn't
better.
happen in other rooms, then you'd have some sort of
pattern to
something,
follow.
go
Something,
by.
a reprieve of some sort.
Yeah, I would not be sleeping in that.
I mean, I
fucking
got
room.
so scared in my bedroom as a kid with apparitions that almost assuredly came from my imagination.
Yeah.
That I relished the opportunity that I had to sleep in the living room.
Oh,
I'd be like,
totally.
oh, can I just sleep down here tonight and just watch this movie? And they're like, all right, we'll go to bed at a reasonable. I'd spend all night watching horror films, but it didn't matter.
Right.
I was safer in the living room in my mind.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay. My mother said that she would see the same little boy wandering around the kitchen and hallway, and she always had felt that feeling of being watched when no one was home with her. Neither of them had seen the tall figure, and it seemed it was focused solely on me. That sucks. The experiences I had in that home are permanently burned into my mind, and I will never forget the tall, white-haired figure that constantly picked me up. Oh yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
that part.
It picks him up. Yeah.
Like, I don't want you breathing your dirt breath, your icy
if he
dirt
tries to
breath,
land on his stomach, it grabs him and
2
drops
to 3
him.
feet up
yeah.
and boom. Much less dragging him from under the bed onto the fucking floor. That constantly picked me up, laid on me, and pulled me around, terrifying me to the core. I do not plan on ever returning to that home, and I pray no one has the misfortune of living there. Excuse me, I pray that no one who has the misfortune of living there experiences what I did on a nightly basis for 6 fucking years.
This guy's
Yeah.
dude. Diego's a fucking trooper.
That's PTSD
this
prime.
dude is a straight up soldier. Like
We
I
were
would
talk-
not be able to do that.
We were talking about ACEs the other day, adverse childhood experiences, the shit that can fuck you up for
Right.
life. ACEs, that's Ace of Base, a
That-
full concert.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
That's a fucking horror show. I've always been curious about deep hypnosis and what it may reveal to me, but I am equally terrified to remember events that my own mind deemed too traumatic to keep in my conscious mind. Thank you for reading, Diego H.
Jesus.
Thank you for sharing, Diego. Obviously, we got nothing but
Yeah,
empathy for
it's
you.
fucking terrifying.
It's too much. It's too much for a kid to have to deal with. I'm sorry that you couldn't get help, that you couldn't get out. But I am a believer to a degree. This does not absolve any of this horror of the Nietzschean edict that, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I really do believe we can get fortitude from things. I don't mean that you should intentionally put kids through hell so that they become tougher for it. That's
Right.
not at all what I'm saying.
No.
Protect children from heinous shit of all sorts all the time. But that having been said, you survived it, and I'm sure it's given you strength. And now that you're a man, you're obviously processing it in a way. And I get why you would be afraid to relive it, because some things in all of our past, we have the deal like, do we want to confront it head on and then fucking work through it, or is it just better off in that little box in the corner where it occasionally creeps out a little and I kick it and it crawls back in
Right.
and I don't have to fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like, I'm sure if Peyton were here, a psych major, they'd be like, no, you look at it dead in the eye and you fucking work it.
No, you don't. You know what
But-
you do? You start a fucking podcast about monsters and aliens and ghosts with your friends and drink beers. That's
Drink
how
your
you
way
deal
through
with
it.
it.
And drink your way
Exactly.
through the
That's
trauma.
Exactly. You vape yourself with weed vapes into a coma until someone has to hold your hand to get you out of the basement because you can't move.
And that's how the Giants leave you alone.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, I hear you.
When I read Diego's story, it was again I was in the basement and it fucking freaked me out. Just because obviously I'm a father and I have kids, just thinking of that fucking terror that he must have been feeling and trying to express it to his parents. And granted, they were.
It's 95. It's not 1,000 years ago,
Yeah,
but
but
it's different.
It's part of that thing like dismissing it, saying it's a nightmare because you don't really want to fucking face it head on. Which being a parent, like I'm having to tell my kids about COVID and this pandemic, and I'm
Right.
like, guys, look, it fucking sucks, and it's going to be an issue, but we're going to get through it, and it's cool. I'm like, well, when's it going to end? I'm like, I can't fucking tell you. Like, I don't know, like.
No, but you're doing right and trying to bolster them.
But I understand where his parents are like, it sucks that they're not kind of like, admitting it to him. Like, yeah, this fucking place is haunted. I get why you wouldn't want to do that to a kid. But at the same time, man, it's fucking a lot for a kid to go through. Like,
It's
that's
too much.
terrifying.
It is way too much. And yeah, no, I'm not indicting Diego's parents.
Oh, yeah, no.
I mean,
not
they
at
could
all.
have maybe brought a priest in or done something, even if it was a placebo effect.
Yeah,
to try to
100%.
like,
Why would you
I don't
not?
know.
To do
Like,
whatever.
just get all the sage, burn it, make sage swords, stab this fucker.
See, I
Now,
don't
I-
know if that works that
I've
way.
talked about my dad's lack of decorum in terms of childhood fears.
Well,
in
yeah,
past
because he was
podcasts.
like, oh, we're all going to die, and then I'm going to shoot y'all.
But one thing he did do when I was a kid, and I always appreciated it, was, of course, being terrified of things. He came in and, in an effort to make me laugh and allay my fears, he pretended to fart in all the cubby holes, like the closet under the bed, to scare the ghosts away. So on the other hand, that was
Fair
a
enough.
charming,
That's
fun thing.
adorable.
And while it only really kind of worked for one night because it made me laugh and happy, I got to give him mad props. He
Hey,
tried to-
Bobby, you got that clown in the corner. Watch this.
Exactly.
Fucking cuts
and
a
fart
gasser
jokes
on it.
when you're fucking 5.5, 6 are
Dude, fart
delightful.
jokes when you're fucking
Wow.
39, about to be 40, are delightful. Come on,
Absolutely.
everyone loves a good fart
And
joke.
another time he came in with a bottle of Windex and pretended it was ghost spray.
Oh, no.
And at least it wasn't like something like Raid or something noxious,
Right,
and he
yeah.
just took care of that shit. So I will say he had his moments. Things like that sometimes help, but they don't necessarily nip to the butt. Now, I don't think I was dealing with genuine paranormal
Right.
intelligences. I might have. Maybe we all have mind parasites
I mean-
that create terrors. I don't know. But I do think I was a kid with a fairly overactive
I think
imagination.
what's
Yeah,
kind of-
sure.
what's in-
Diego's a whole other breed of cat.
I think what's interesting with Diego is that there's obviously a pretty solid visual aspect here, but there's also smell. He can smell its breath, its
Yeah.
earthy breath.
Feel
he
it,
can
too.
feel the icy
the
cold,
pressure of the body, the icy cool.
But also the breath he's getting physically interacted with where it's
manhandled.
picking them up. So, which I mean, I don't know a lot about ghosts. I mean, I think
None
maybe
of us do.
one of- can Chris be like our Zach Baggins? Could he be our guy?
You want me to like antagonize
the ghost until they become
I'm gonna
worse.
do something dangerous here, guys.
If you're,
Ready?
you can be the crypto guy.
Okay.
I can be the interdimensional shaman guy.
Okay.
And then Chris can be fucking Zach Baggins.
There's an,
ghost streamer?
there's an
The ghost
interdimensional
streamer.
shaman guy.
Yeah, that's me because that's aliens interdimensional. Same
Well, with
shit.
your hair now, you have no choice.
Yeah,
you
I-
are
exactly, my
interdimensional
fucking
shaman.
if you just hairspray it up,
I could
Yeah.
be. I could be Zukalos,
Yeah, you
couldn't
could-
I?
you could
Yeah.
be Zukalos to the
you
max.
can be a fake Saiyan.
I could be. I could be. I don't want to be just aliens. I want to be fucking interdimensional shit too because I love that shit. So you're
Okay.
crypto, I'm alien, and fucking Chris. Can
I
be,
yell at the
and
ghost.
Chris can yell,
Well,
"Get your goddamn shit out of my goddamn
Who's
house."
our alien expert?
I guess me, but I don't
Has
know.
it got to be pay? We're just going to throw her a
No,
bone?
I mean, I guess I can be the alien / interdimensional.
Let me be crypto alien. I like them both.
All right,
So
cool.
let me take that
All
mantle.
right, fine. I'll just be interdimensional.
Let me
guy.
bear that yoke.
So maybe
Nah.
I mean, I don't know how often people have these types of interactions with fucking spirits.
often,
but,
probably.
I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It's one of those things where you try to figure out, like, all right, could something be going on? Like, could this be like a night terror? Could this be?
All right, so let's
like,
break it down
but,
to the basics.
I mean,
it could be a night
shit.
terror. It could be a repetitive.
possible.
every night
It
though.
could be. It could. Listen, we're only being skeptical. I don't think
Right.
it is. Listen, I do not believe that's the case. But I'm throwing skeptical things out there. Something else traumatic is happening in his real life, and it is manifesting as a metaphysical night terror because that is somehow easier to accept.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying like some, neighbor dude or something sneaking in his room and laying on top of him and doing some heinous
fucked
ice
up.
cold breath shit. But I just mean it's a possibility. I don't believe that's the case because I think eventually be like, Mom, Randy's got to stop coming in the house.
Yeah, if this was actually like an actual human interaction, I think there'd be he's a kid, but he's not like
He's not an idiot.
kid. Yeah, he knows the deal.
There's a difference.
I don't think it's somebody breaking in for
I don't think
years.
so either.
It's not Randy.
It's not Randy.
It's
That
not
next door
So
Randy
we're ruling out Randy.
with dry ice in his pocket and some dirt.
Yeah, it's not Randy. It's not Creeper Randy.
Okay, so then we're dealing with something else. Now, this is not... Now, the kid that pops out in the narrow hallway...
Which is kind of weird. He
is weird and
just shows
apparition-like.
up. Yeah, he's just there.
This thing is not necessarily spectral in a classic haunting sense.
No,
it
it's-
is not an apparition. It is not a poltergeist, except in the sense that it's moving him.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems to be a manifestation. Now, some people that are of a more religious persuasion would instantly say diabolical or demonic.
the old
I get
demon,
that.
yeah.
Because, listen, this thing looks hellish, and it's clearly creating terror. You gotta throw the possibility of ultra-terrestrial in there in the sense that if something feeds on terror, that's 6 years of like a fucking free pass at Pondo.
Right.
You are just gluttony.
Yeah, I mean,
On horror.
As a kid, I don't think he's going to create his own tulpa accidentally.
Well,
I mean,
now
maybe.
ultra-terrestrials aren't necessarily tulpas.
No, I'm putting tulpa
All right, so
out
yeah,
there.
no, probably not. Though, I mean, could somebody else be? Could his brother have accidentally created a tulpa and he got stuck with it?
It's a lot of work to create. It's a lot of work to do a tulpa.
That feels like I just had a little paranormal diarrhea that came out of my mouth, and that doesn't
Right.
sound like it makes sense.
So
I'm not thinking ghost. I mean, maybe something interdimensional. Maybe the fact that it has a grayish.
He
type
did say
thing.
it looked like a gray
And now
alien.
hybrid aliens allegedly have that fucking wispy, shitty chemo hair kind
Yeah,
of
they
fucking
do.
thing going on.
Yep.
And is it the ghost of an alien hybrid that really
Well, I
likes
mean-
them and is trying to communicate with them?
we're crossing things there. Is it a ghost of an alien hybrid? It very well could be an extraterrestrial that's just fucking
Horrible.
abducting him
And having a
constantly.
6-year program of terrifying for no good reason.
I mean,
Smell my breath, boy.
what
the fuck's the
Yeah,
point
I
of
don't know.
that?
I think
I
really
don't
it
get
just
that.
goes back to ghost or some sort of paranormal entity. But what's fucked up about it is that it has a physicality to it.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
That's what makes it non-ghosty.
It's like, oh, you see the old timey guy walking in the house, like, oh no, but nothing
Right.
happens. You know,
Yeah.
you hear some shit, but all of a sudden this thing's manifest and it's with you. It's on top of you, breathing in stank fucking earth breath. Like for
Unless
6
if-
fucking years, this shit happened to this guy.
Next door Randy might be dead. In which case that explains a lot.
That's true.
Yeah.
No,
That's true.
I feel like I know we never take the devil off the table. I don't really like falling into the diabolical category.
No, it's too big. It's
On
too
the
wide.
other hand, this thing seems obviously malicious because if this is just a way of communicating, if it is just a foreign intelligence that is just for some reason trying to communicate to poor Diego, like, I live here and I'm kind of lonely and I need a friend and I just need human contact.
Right.
And then he lays on top of him and manhandles him and breathes shit breath at him for 6 years. That's not the way to go about it. I think this has some nefarious intentions. Or at least if it has any intelligence, it realizes Diego's scared.
Right.
And he's the fucking cause of it.
Well, it eventually went to tearing him off the bed, which is fucking
which is even worse.
crazy.
Like, if the only thing worse than something hovering above you is something under your bed pulling you down.
Yeah.
Wait a minute though. Didn't he say he never opened his eyes when that started happening?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's always a chance of something else
Like a different spirit or something?
doing something else.
Okay.
I'm just throwing that out
So
there.
it could be a different...
You're throwing a Randy in there, aren't you?
You're putting Randy in there?
I didn't say it was a creepazoid from
Oh,
afar.
You did not say. I'm just asking what you're
right.
saying.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
I mean, I'm assuming that if this activity is happening, his mom would literally come in and find him fucking frozen on the floor.
You have to assume his
So-
parents had the best intentions.
Well, yeah, I would hope. I mean, I'm sure that they did. There's no doubt, and I understand them kind of twisting the situation a little bit to be like, oh no, because you don't want to fucking scare the kid to be like, yeah, sorry, Diego, we live in a fucking super haunted house. I don't know, dude. Like, what do you want to do?
Unless his brother on the lower bunk is playing the long con.
I mean, if that's
that
the
doesn't
case,
make any
man, the
sense.
brother's diabolical.
For a second, I'm like, maybe he is some.
Look,
not a mutant, but
like, his brother's like a psychic
maybe
or
he
something?
is the source of it.
Well, I mean,
there's no
It's always
evidence
a
otherwise.
possibility.
There isn't, but you have to wonder, like, if say maybe the brother
He's a mutant.
is a sensitive or is
That's what
somehow
I'm saying.
able to attract entities that are of intelligences of a non-human origin.
Not even. What if he can just project something that's not
Tulpa-esque or
it's
something?
Not even. It's
No,
not
just
maybe
maybe
project
putting it out
something
there.
that is just something from his imagination.
It's psychic projection,
that makes
yeah.
real, but not necessarily a tulpa.
So he watched like a UFO abduction thing on Fox because it's the 90s. Like an X-Files episode or that thing with Jonathan Frakes.
Maybe
And then an episode of fucking
Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt
Yeah.
comes on, and the brother has a nightmare that synthesizes these two
He
haunting
amalgamizes
images.
it, and there it is.
And as he's dreaming and sleeping, this thing becomes manifest because it is his telekinetic skill set, but his brother is awake to physically experience it.
if that's the case, goddamn, that sucks.
mean-
I almost wish that it was something else. If that's the case,
It
honestly.
almost cannot be the case, but boy, that's a
It's
horrifying proposition.
But it's also a great fucking movie too. My brother, The Sixth Sense, but he doesn't experience it. I do.
Oh, what do you do? It would be worse than that kid in the fucking Twilight Zone episode in the Twilight Zone
the
movie.
fucking
that
rabbit.
can make
All the-
shit
oh,
like,
yeah, the
rabbit.
laugh now,
Oh.
I'm here. Yeah, that rabbit was a
That
nightmare.
rabbit sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe Dante.
God. All right, well, you
Fine
know what?
director.
I'm just saying.
You're right.
Diego, thank you so very much for sharing that story with us. It is fucking terrifying. It definitely ruined my night.
Yeah, I hope you're better, man.
Yeah,
I hope
and
you
props to you
can
for-
sleep at night now.
Yeah,
I hope
man.
you found peace.
Yeah.
I really pray that you've really come to terms with the shit because it's no way to live a life.
No, not at all. Big ups to you for getting through this kind of shit because that's just fucking that traumatized me reading it. I
Yeah.
was like, oh fuck. Like,
Thank you for sharing, man.
I had
It
to
couldn't
take
have
a-
been easy.
I had to take a pause for a minute. It was like, God damn, I gotta get out of this basement
Yeah.
without getting grabbed.
I know, and you've got classic basement stairs with
Yeah,
holes.
exactly.
So that's perfect for ankle
Exactly.
grabbing.
Could be somebody hiding in the fucking heater. All right, so Rob, let's continue on our creepy crusade
Oh,
with
I like
listener
that.
stories.
Look at you with your
You like that?
alliteration.
Yeah.
Oh my
He
God, I'm
Thought
rubbing
of that
off.
while he was
did.
getting a beer.
I went to get a beer and I thought about that actually.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
I love it.
I did.
It doesn't matter.
Is it a creepy carnival?
You're
Is it a
allowed
creepy
to,
crusade?
Oh God damn it! You're allowed to think about things. It's not like you don't get penalized for thinking about things in advance.
No, you're not. It's
Yeah, no, you're not.
America. You can't think about stuff.
Oh, Chris,
boy.
get topical.
Oh, the scathing
boy.
indictment.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
the salt.
And now we're moving on.
The salt.
The
cometh.
saltiest of carnicellis.
Oh, it is. Yes, truly, truly spicy. Who sent this story?
This comes to us from Nicole H.
Nicole. Thank you, Nicole H. All right, so we're keeping with the theme again. It's going to be fresh to Chris and I. Mark, did you read this or just glance?
Yeah, no, I actually read both Nicole's and Diego's in the same night, and I did not have a great night.
I've never shared this with anyone except my husband and kids. Not even my close family or best friends know. But my daughter keeps asking me to share. So here is a small fraction of what I endured. Oh, a small fraction.
Fraction.
If this is just a fraction, then it's
She-
got to be
She had
exponentially
originally
bad.
sent me an email asking about where to submit the story, and she gave like a breakdown of it, and I was like, yes on that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
So and this
You got
this
the
doesn't even
outline.
include shit she mentioned. So just think about that.
Oh my gosh. So this is a
All right.
novel. This is the novel that needs to be written. The great American whatever.
This is yes.
Okay. I grew up in a small suburb of South Akron, Ohio. The majority of my haunting took place in the early to mid 80s, the best time to be haunted, or to listen to pop music,
Yeah.
Or metal.
I mean, you know.
or punk,
True.
or to watch blockbuster movies. I mean, the list goes on. and on.
Totally.
Okay. My mother and I took the brunt of this haunting. My dad and brother, who is 4 years older, had things happen to them, but nothing like what my mom and I experienced. And none of them experienced a fraction of what I experienced. All right, so obviously
Okay,
biased against
well.
women and exponentially more so towards the younger one. So bad scene. We finally moved out of an apartment and into a rental house. Our house was a typical house. It was cozy and roomy and surprisingly in my parents' price range, as we were below poverty level and it was in a good neighborhood. All right, that's a warning sign. It had 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, dine-in kitchen, and a basement. We also had 1 big room upstairs. That was our playroom where we kept our Atari and our electric slot car tracks.
Oh my God.
Fucking A, right, 80s. That's wicked. How can anything go wrong with that room? How
Yeah,
can
it's the Atari room.
Jeez.
Don't worry.
Did they have the ET cartridge? Is that where things went south?
Exactly.
Oh, that's the cursed.
Right away, we started experiencing things. Small things like doors closing and knocking sounds. Then it escalated to things moving and seeing things out of the corner of our eyes, which is an actual phenomenon. I wish I could remember. It starts with an F. That's been identified. Seeing weird apparitions out of the corner of your eyes actually has a term now.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Enjoy, listeners. No information whatsoever. Fucking phenomenal. The playroom had a small door that opened to a storage space. My brother and I started hearing sounds coming from behind the little door. Of course, it's a little door.
Is that the Malkovich door?
Oh,
It's Malkovich door,
John,
yeah.
you had a
There you go.
Malkovich door. I didn't even like working. We were building American Monsters in that room, a lot of it, and I just would always like glance over my shoulder at that tiny little fucking John Malkovich door, and I'd be like, nope,
Hey,
nope,
yeah, I hated
nope,
that.
The
nope.
only thing that held the Malkovich door behind it was my gun case. That was
Mm.
just a bunch of weapons.
You needed it.
It may have been a stockpile. I don't want to indict myself. May have been a stockpile. I was listening to a lot
It was
of
a different time.
I was listening to a lot of Rage Against the Machine.
You weren't a parent.
I was ready, just in case.
The revolution could have happened at any time.
Any minute, you never
It was
know.
early in the millennium. Who knew? Y2K
No.
could have gone south
Guns
quick.
at the time, guns were cheap, so I had to stock up.
Oh my God, that's the reason. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so we started hearing knocking on the door. That's even worse. We would tell our parents, and they would brush it off. Our toys and games would go missing, only to turn up in the storage space. Yep. Then out of nowhere, all hell broke loose. One day, my mom and I were in the playroom. We were standing at the top of the stairs looking down, talking to my dad and his friend. As I was standing there looking at my mom, a darkness came through the closed storage door and moved toward us. The closer it came to us, the more it took a human shape. I was petrified. I was so scared I couldn't speak. It then shoved her from behind and then vanished. She was pushed so hard that they caught her while she was in the air at the bottom of the stairs.
Physical interaction.
That is a
An
murder
assault.
attempt. That's
It's
not a
it's an
fucking physical
it's
interaction.
A fucking assault. That's what it is.
That is assault with an attempt to fucking murder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
We could see her chest move forward while her head snapped back from whiplash. I remember my mom screaming and begging for me to come down the stairs.
Oh God, that's so terrifying.
Oh yeah. So
Jesus
you know
Christ.
you just got jammed and your baby's up there and you're like, and so she's not even thinking about
But
herself. She almost died or
But you
became
saw
a
this thing
paraplegic.
come out and push your mom.
And she's like, the mom is like, baby, get down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is poltergeisty.
It is very poltergeisty.
But I was so scared I couldn't move. My dad ran up the stairs, grabbed me, and carried me down the stairs. Prime dad move.
There you go.
Well done, Pops.
There you go.
Excellent.
Outstanding man.
That was just the beginning, really? Because that really could have been the end of half your
no.
family unit.
No.
That was the shadow introducing himself to me. From there on out, the shadow would stand in my doorway every night. Oh, shades of similar horror.
Yeah.
It would stand next to my bed. It would sit on my bed. It would pinch me. It even wrapped my blanket around my head and held it there tight. The
What?
fuck?
Again, a fucking
It's not
assault.
funny. It's just like
assault.
it's
slash.
so absurd that
Yeah.
this is.
It's over the top.
Yeah.
That you're a kid laying there and this thing is wrapping a fucking blanket around your head.
What the fuck?
It's too much.
It's a murder attempt.
It would even go to the bathroom with me. Okay. All
Creepy.
right.
Not good. Not
Come on
good.
now. Come on.
I mean, this thing is obviously evil as fuck, and for some reason we're like, hey, don't go to the bathroom with a girl. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
attempted, suffocation and push murder are horrible. the kids in the bathroom. Show a little respect.
But I'm saying I think we should expect, I guess, now that this thing is just
yeah, no, you're
a
right. We
complete
shouldn't
fucking
We shouldn't assume that this has like
yeah,
decorum
it's not like,
or
oh, I'm
limitations.
sorry,
on
go to
good
the
taste.
bathroom
Yeah.
and then come out and I'll choke you when you're
I'll
done.
choke you.
But
Yeah,
it's
'cause I'm a
fucking. This
scumbag.
thing clearly doesn't give a shit.
My parents never saw it after the stair pushing incident, but my brother occasionally witnessed it tormenting me. He would tell my parents, "It's bothering Coley again."
Oh God, that's scary, man. Fuck.
The only distinguishing characteristic was its shape. It was the shape of a man. I would scream and cry and tell it to go away. It never did. When my dad would come running down the hall to check on me, it would step into the shadows and disappear.
Yeah.
I hate movies that do that. I hate those
That's a
movies
shithole.
where that motherfucker, someone is just, they're seeing some ill shit and like the cops never find it, the
Right.
parents never see it, and it's so fucking, but when it happens in real life, it's literally a trillion times worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so fucking bad for her.
Yep.
Just disappear in the shadows. One time, while I was in the bathroom washing my hands, the shadow appeared and lifted my dad's safety razor off the sink, flew at my arm, and cut my arm up.
This is a definite murder attempt.
Oh, my God.
Clearly.
It didn't just cut me once, it kept cutting me.
So again, we're talking spectral physical interactions where it's harming somebody, and we have heard stories about shit like this.
We have.
people
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
scratched and attacked, but this is like straight up taking a weapon
I literally read
and
an
going
article
after this girl.
earlier today, just like I always do, like trying to create notes for future stories and whatnot. And this person was insisting that ghosts are by and large not only intelligent and able to interact. This person was against the idea that they're just basically like video loops that are embedded in minerals or whatever. And they're usually beneficent. They don't have evil intentions. Sometimes they don't like people occupying their house, but they're not evil. But then you hear stories like this and many others, and it's like, you are being naive. In the same way, I think a lot of the people that believe in the gentle giant Sasquatch theory are being absolutely naive. Well, some are probably pretty, cool, but others can be super predators. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
why not across the board?
Some people are cool people. Some people are.
Well, do they
complete
just think the
assholes.
bad things aren't
Happening?
Do they think they're a different thing than what they're talking about?
Exactly. Are you ascribing
Because it has to be.
demons?
If they don't think those things are evil, then by definition, it has to be not what they're talking about.
I
never thought about that. Yeah,
I've
that's a good
always
point.
had a loathing for anybody. It doesn't matter if it's in the traditional academic sciences or in the paranormal realm that ignore evidence that they find inconvenient.
Right.
Whether it is like the Jacques Vallée side of ufology, where people are like, I don't want to. Or like the pancake story where dude got fucking sweet wheat pancakes that tasted like cardboard and fucking everyone gives him a fucking ration of shit about it. It's like, take the evidence
Right.
and absorb it into the whole.
Well,
Otherwise, you're not really trying to get to the fucking truth. And when you ignore the diabolical side of what might be a ghost, might not be a ghost, but
Right.
something that's obviously paranormal, then you are limiting your perspective to fit into your belief system. And that means you're not looking for the truth.
Yeah.
You're looking for evidence that suggests what you already believe. And that's a waste of fucking everyone's time.
Yeah, that's just confirmation bias. You're just not
absolutely.
even.
And obviously here with Nicole, we had some direct interactions previous, but now it's to a whole new fucking level where it's physically harming her.
Oh, it's,
Okay.
it's a bad scene. Okay.
It's crazy.
All right. I told my mom, who bandaged my arm and told me not to tell anyone what happened. My parents were very young, mid-20s, and were afraid that people would think they were crazy. All right, so we in the Diego case we were talking about, sometimes there can be misguided attempts of parents. So I'm not sure exactly how old Coley is in this case, but is young, I'm assuming. And
I mean, if her parents are in their 20s, just from their perspective being in their 20s, I mean, it's the 80s. Yeah. My parents were in their 20s in the 80s when I was born.
Yeah,
So
my mom was.
I understand it's fucked up, but I can totally, whether they're going to like hush this, especially,
well, but
just moving into the area and
it might
shit.
not be, because they're worried about the family shame, like, oh, we don't want everyone thinking our daughter's crazy. Though that could be
Right.
part of it in protecting the
Yeah.
daughter. It could also be that maybe they thought she hurt herself and was blaming, some
Right,
weird
something else on it,
apparition.
yeah.
Maybe they were trying to protect her from her. I can see I'm trying to be merciful here. I can see circumstances where a parent might not care at all what the neighbors think, but really care about what the neighbors think about their child,
Right,
Because they have
right.
to live with this reputation.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably a lot of all that. Like she said, they just got in a good spot.
Yeah.
Like,
And as a parent,
You're right.
They don't want to.
You know, they're of limited means.
Right.
They're in a good
Yeah.
neighborhood now.
I mean, but they have had interactions in the house with something. Clearly, it pushed her mother, and her dad knew.
Yes,
Her dad knew.
The dad, the friend
So-
knew. The caught mom.
Yeah.
Mom and dad were so terrified
So-
for the child that dad, like a
Yeah.
like a G, ran upstairs and was like, "You're
So
safe
they
now."
would
baby."
make
Yeah.
me think that, like, if she was attacked, maybe they wouldn't. They would. I'm assuming they would tie the two together to be like, oh shit, like this is now going after her.
And you know what? You have to weigh this out. Here's a weird thing. Now, cutting your child with a razor blade should be the bridge too far. Like, fuck that noise. But on the other hand, you're like, do we move to a neighborhood where literally everything is
Right.
dangerous?
Yeah.
And there's like maybe home invasions and maybe
Right.
there's gang activity. Who
Yeah,
knows what it could be?
you're right.
But, like where my children are in constant mortal jeopardy, or where we're in a really nice neighborhood and they are in occasional mortal jeopardy. No parent should have to make that decision, by the way.
No, not at all.
That's
I couldn't-
horrible.
I couldn't even imagine. I mean, as a father myself, I couldn't even fucking. It's too much.
And Chris and I are uncles, and we fucking love our nieces and nephews. I mean, I know it's not the same as fatherhood, but it's pretty fucking close. Like, if something happened to our babies, I
Yeah.
think we'd go sucking ballistic.
Yeah.
So here's where it gets worse in the sense of at least the name. And she goes on to say, then there was the Creeper Man.
Oh, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
I feel like we already were introduced to the Creeper Man.
Oh,
yeah, I
no.
know.
This is somebody
the razor
worse?
cutting.
No.
This is just
bathroom
Dragon Ball Z.
chasing.
Like, it just keeps getting
Exactly.
worse.
It's worse and worse.
There's multiple end bosses.
Oh my
where
God.
You're like,
Oh,
it's Super
all right.
End Bison. No.
This guy has 2 power bars.
Yeah. I thought Vega was a real asshole. This guy's worse.
It always got worse. That's the beautiful thing about Dragon Ball. It just got worse. The Creeper Man. He was very tall and very thin. He had short gray hair and long fingers.
Oh, God. I know. It creeps me out.
He too followed me around. I could tell he was trying to seem friendly, but I don't think he was. He never touched me, just hounded me constantly. I was in the living room watching TV with my dad. I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. Down the hallway was the man. He was wearing a ladybug costume, antenna and all. The fucking fuck.
I'm just looking at Chris's face. He's just completely perplexed and just doesn't understand anything as he's reading it off the laptop.
Who sees it? Coming.
Okay. Hold
Okay.
on.
He was waving his fingers at me and then put his fingers to his, his finger to his mouth. Shh. I looked at my dad crying and told him to look down the hall, but the man was gone. The fuck?
You know?
I don't even know what to do with this scumbag.
Yeah.
Once he was dressed in a lab coat. He had one of those old-time metal lights with the leather strap on his forehead. So it's got to be like the old Dr. Focus thing that hasn't been used in a billion years.
I don't even think it
I
fucking
assume.
ever. I don't think it ever fucking worked.
Yeah, I don't even know. I think I remember seeing a doctor use one once when I was a baby in the 70s, like one of my foundational memories. But I
Right.
could be making that shit up. It was probably something I saw on
Yeah.
TV.
Totally.
All right. He had a stethoscope and lollipops sticking out of the chest pocket on the lab coat.
Weird.
Just, to scum it up a little more. I just pulled the blanket over my head. He sat on my bed, but I did not dare remove the cover from my head. So here's the thing. I think we all know that it shouldn't work logically, but kids universally believe a blanket over your head is a protection
Yeah.
against not only paranormal, but maybe even physical threats. Now, we know physical threats are not going to be stopped by a fucking blanket. But maybe there is something about the intention of being protected. Maybe the belief that a blanket can protect creates a certain psychic barrier that, at least in the cases of some paranormal phenomenon, if not actively being able to repel them, at least can deter them.
Or you're not giving it power because you're not acknowledging it.
Oh, you're acknowledging it.
Well, you are, but
you also believe
you're
that this
turned away
blanket
and
is
you're
somehow
just not,
shinging
like
you.
you're not engaging with it.
Yeah, but
There could be
you're ignoring it.
you kind of just barely believe that, though.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
No one ever
you know
jumped
in
in
your
the
heart.
bed and you were just like, nailed it, and you're just fucking calmly went to sleep with the angels.
Yeah, exactly. You're
No.
right.
You went in the bed, your eyes were open, you're like, I'm pretty sure I'm safe.
But I don't know.
Like I've been safe all this time.
Right.
Every time I do this, but I'm not sure. Then it's like hours.
I know I was dead meat if I didn't not only had the blankets covering my feet, but had the blankets tucked under.
Yeah, 'cause
both
that's how they
sides
get
of my
in.
calves, under my heels.
Yeah, that's how they
like
get you.
fully.
If you
So-
expose any part of your body, they have an in.
They have an in.
Yeah.
So if there's even a little breach in the blanket. So even though I agree with Chris, you never really felt safe. You were not sleeping with the angels, as it were.
That's what I mean.
But,
I mean,
but that having been said, you at least tacitly knew that fucking if any part of you was exposed, the fucking you were done.
It's almost like one of those weird like human, like something that's passed down from years and years, like how we're afraid of things in the dark with teeth and large eyes and like snakes.
Something
and shit.
instinctive.
Yeah, something
built in.
instinctually we're like cover up and no one can find you. Maybe it's from being when we were fucking cavemans.
Well, there's a foundational
caveman.
thing. I know. I was gonna let that slide.
Yeah, and they fucking and we're like shit. Cover yourself that they're coming, and you fucking duck
No,
and cover.
dude, tons of shit that the way we act is from
Yeah.
then. It's
In
just
fact,
leftover.
A lot of, I guess, modern psychologists believe that where a lot of paranormal belief, or at least that feeling that you're with something that is a paranormal entity, be it a ghost or whatnot, comes from having this heightened sense of danger being in a creepy place, be it an abandoned house, an alley, or whatever.
Yeah.
And what that comes from is there is no cost on your psyche for being hyper vigilant.
Right.
If you're over paranoid and it ends up being a stray cat or some fucking creaking door, no big deal.
Right.
But if you're not hyper vigilant and it ends up being something genuinely dangerous, then you're fucked.
Yeah.
So we are designed to be at maximum paranoia in any creepy circumstance.
We're descendants of the people that thought the thing in the bush was something that was going to kill them, and so they booked.
And it was more often than not.
Whether it was or wasn't, we lived.
That's why we're here
you're
today.
right,
exactly.
That's like the whole.
The booking is the key to our species survival.
I'm not sure if you've ever seen The Croods, but that's the entire fucking plot of The Croods. The cavemen's and
Oh
women's.
yeah, it's Neanderthal meets
yeah,
Homo
it's what they
sapien,
do.
right?
They're
Or
like
something
like
that.
we stay in the cave and we're fucking scared because we're safe and we're alive, and that's how we fucking made it by booking and being smart
Yeah.
about shit.
By outing the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly.
Outing fuck out, dude.
All
So
right.
yeah, there's science, but there's also the possibility there's some weird shit there. All right. So she goes on to say, and this is understandable, I hated playing by myself. If I was by myself, he would show up. If I was in my room, I could hear him walking down the hallway, probably a narrow one, as we've established. Fucking horrible. I would hide under my bed. For some reason, I believed that was a safe place for me to be. What we were just talking about. Yeah. I guess it was because he never came under the bed. He would walk around my bed a few times, stop wherever my head was, turn so his feet would be directly in my face, wait for what seemed like forever, turn around and walk back out of into the hallway to my parents' room.
Yeah, weird.
So again,
Yeah, this is just a cinematic.
fuck? It's cinematic as shit.
Horror story.
Is it tormenting? Is it psychological torture in that I know you're there? You think I miss you. My feet are there. Or is there really some protection in the belief that there is protection? So I'm tormenting you and I know you're there, but because you established this protective barrier under the bed, I can't get you, but I'm still going to fuck with you and make you be terrified.
Yeah.
Or is it I could get you anytime I want and fuck it. You want to believe it's safe? Go ahead.
It's hard to believe that that it'd be like, where did she go?
Yeah,
I
no,
have
exactly.
no idea.
Yeah, no, you're right.
My God, she was here and now she's gone. The only thing in here is a bed or a closet, and I clearly have come from the closet. So where could she be?
I've
Maybe
met
they
my
are dim as
match.
shit.
I met my match.
What shall I do?
God damn it, Nicole has bested me.
Again. All right. So speaking of it disappearing into her parents' room, I believe that's where he stayed. He stayed in my parents' closet. No matter what they did, their closet wouldn't stay closed. I had a fucking closet like that on Seymour Street. You guys all know we were all there.
Oh, that
That
absolutely.
fucking thing would never close.
Dude, it's all I know, but doors are
I
a
put
bitch.
so much shit in front of it,
Dude,
like
I know.
stacks of like bins and there was always that sliver of black, and I always was just waiting to see like the white of an eye or some other paint or fingers, little fingers come out.
Oh, yeah,
but
long-
it never
long
happened.
fingers.
And,
Little long fingers.
I, of course, was a small child in
Waiting
my
for
30s
goblins. Yeah.
when this happened, so I have every reason to have
My
felt
new
that
album
way.
coming out next month, Waiting for Goblins.
Waiting for Goblins by Chris Carnacelli, featuring artwork by Robert Morphy. Songs about Robert Morphy. In fact, Waiting for Goblins.
Oh my God, there it is. It makes perfect sense. All right.
That entire house was crooked.
It was horrible. I know it was a crooked
It was
house.
built
I
at a
get it.
45-degree angle.
It was a
for
fun
Christ's
house.
sakes.
It was a fucking
tilted.
fun house. You could put a ball in any room and it would roll 6 rooms away.
Nothing in that house was level.
It was
nothing.
and it had the narrowest, steepest stairs.
Yes, I know. They were like 3 feet wide, but they were at like a fucking straight vert. It was like Tony Hawk's vert ramp.
But it
Yeah,
was
it was like
also-
an 80-degree
It was-
I'm like, what are you doing?
You needed like mountain climbing
is
gear. I
happening?
needed my crampons.
It was like trying to fucking it's trying to like skate Animal Chin. Like it was that bad where you're like, I
It's
can't
true.
even come close to this. Anyway, all right. So
Okay.
back to it. He's in the
All right.
closet. Now what
He's
happened?
in the closet. Okay. It would not stay closed. This was established in the parents' closet. They even locked it and duct taped it shut. Holy fuck.
It's a lot.
Only to have the tape pulled off and the closet standing wide open. That's problematic. Because you know what you have there? Raccoons. At this
the old
point,
raccoon.
you have to start looking at practical solutions.
Hey, you know, now that we're here, if anyone needs that raccoon problem taken care of, I'm your boy.
Oh, yeah.
I got my bag of tools right there.
Peyton to this day still doesn't know there was a horrific fucking Japanese demon right above her bedroom when she was gone, because she would probably never sleep in her bedroom again.
All right.
I mean, I got my impact drill and I got my hammer. So
And in case people didn't get the clue here, our new studio is my sister's basement.
yeah, what up, Goo? What up, Marianne? Thank you so very much.
The best.
The best. So awesome.
So that having been said, yes, no, Peyton still doesn't know that there's fucking demons in her room and that I called the cops and fucking explained to them that there's some horrible shit and it was probably the
I'm just saying we can build-
weirdest
listen,
911 call ever.
We can build
man.
the raccoons a nice little cottage in the back and
All
be like, excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Raccoon, please enjoy your new domicile and leave the home alone. And
makes
we can
sense.
and we can feed them. We'll
We
make
can
them
do
a
all
part,
sorts of ill
make
shit
them a
now.
part of the show.
We're established.
Yeah, make them a part of the show.
Guests. Once my mother woke up and said that there was a man, not my dad, who was sleeping on the other side of her.
Oh boy.
Laying next to her, her face next to hers.
Ugh.
The fuck? She said she closed her eyes and waited a minute. Oh, how do you wait a minute? A stranger is lying
Yeah,
in bed
what-
facing
just
you.
in case you
how
don't
do you
know.
wait a fucking minute?
You're like, this isn't real.
I get you blink.
Pause.
You're like, Dale?
yeah,
No. Oh, fuck. Opened her eyes again, and he was gone. My parents woke up one night freezing. This is a separate incident. The blankets and sheets had been removed from the bed, and they were laying inside on the floor of the open
He
closet.
took their fucking sheets.
Wow, that's a dick move.
Fucker.
He would even show up outside the house. Our front porch was a small wooden deck that I would sometimes play on. And as I was playing with my toys, he stuck his fingers up through the spaces between the planks and waved them at me. Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. I read this the same night that I read Diego's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't
Done.
do anything. And we're not even done.
You know-
you have no idea the horror that I endured to figure to pick the stories.
The old 3-fingered Sandown space clown fucking beneath the bridge.
Yeah,
That's
weird.
not comforting.
No.
No.
But you're playing on your parents' front porch in the middle of
Yeah,
a bright
a
day with
porch.
your toys.
It's
your kid,
different,
and
yeah.
then the hand comes up and it's like, wiggle wave.
Yeah.
That's the shittiest.
Yeah.
Maximum shitty. Oh
Yeah. I don't even have boards on my porch, but I'll never have boards on a porch now.
It gets worse. You're right.
Yeah.
I could see his face looking up at me.
Oh, God.
You don't ever walk on that porch again. You either go in the back door if
You
you're
have to
lucky enough
burn
to have
the
back door.
porch.
You have to burn the porch.
You gotta burn the porch.
Burn the porch.
Probably need to burn the house.
Burn the Porch is going to be Chris's part 2 of this
Hashtag
epic
burn the porch.
Waiting for Goblins.
Yeah, Waiting the Goblins. Part 2, burn the porch.
Burn the porch. There you go.
Oh, looking up at me. Our yard would sometimes flood after a hard rain. One day I looked out the window to look at the water that had flooded our yard, and he was standing in the middle of it looking at me and waving his fingers at me to come out. Him and his creepy feckin' fingers. Thank you for writing feckin'.
So-
That's a great swear word.
Somewhere along the way, this turned into a Cronenberg movie.
Well, a little bit of a Stephen King novel too.
It was like Spielberg, and now it's just like Naked Lunch.
It takes
It's Naked Lunch meets Pennywise.
Yeah, it takes a weird turn, and you know what? Spoiler alerts: we're not done yet, Robert.
Yeah, I see
I'm
more.
getting
I
there.
see more words.
What do we got? What do we got?
Probably the most strange and horrifying thing was the nightly visits from Count Von Count. Oh my God. I'm not trying to laugh. Nicole,
See?
please understand their sympathy.
Fucking Cronenberg.
It is that,
Like,
you're right. You're
that
right.
is-
Or that's almost fucking Jodorowsky. It's like fucking El Topo madness.
Yeah.
Oh, Alejandro. Okay. And it's Count Von Count spelled with 2 Ks, for the record. Yes, that Count Von Count. That's Count Von Count. Okay, so we do have it right. He looked just like him, except for the little fangs that the TV Count had. This Count had what I described at the time were grown-up teeth. They were human teeth, kind of crooked, and looked like they needed a good cleaning. For weeks, the Count showed up in my bedroom at night. I would wake up to him sitting on the foot of my bed. On his hands and knees, Jesus, he would pull at my blankets, squeeze my feet really hard, and pinch my toes. The fuck? The living fuck.
You're waiting for Big Bird to come in and be like, fucking knock it off, you creepy piece of shit.
There's a reason you almost got kicked off of Sesame Street.
What is happening? I'm waiting for that yellow bastard to show up. If you get that one.
Oh, Frank Miller's Big Bird.
It's great.
All right. Okay. He always tried to get me to go with him. The more I would say no, the angrier he would get, and the more he would hurt me. Oh, Jesus. He started out his visits by trying to be cute and friendly. It's like he wanted me to let my guard down. I would wake up to whispers of 1, ha ha ha, 2, ha ha ha, 3. Oh my God. So it really is. It's a shitty old scummy human being trying to be the Count.
Chris is literally, I've never seen a reaction like that where he like took a pause. He like looked around and was like, what the fuck? And he was like taken aback.
Can anyone do a better count than me? For
1,
the
ha ha ha.
Thank you.
2, ha ha ha. 3.
Jesus Christ. He wanted me to believe he was the real Count, except he looks like a creepy old dude with shitbag teeth.
Yes.
Grown-up teeth.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I don't know where he wanted me to go, but I sure as hell wasn't going, and I took the abuse. Then, one day, he never came back. Oh, fucking thank God.
Yeah, Jesus.
All right, so what I know we're going to break down. I know we got a little bit left.
Let's just save the count for the end because she sends us another email at the end. So let's just save it for that.
Okay.
And we'll get there because there's a lot there.
My mom asked our pastor to please come help us, come to the house and bless it. When he got inside, we stood in the kitchen talking. All of a sudden, the pots and pans that were hanging on the wall started banging against the wall, and all of the cabinet doors were being thrown open and slamming shut over and over. That's cinematic as the dills. Mm-hmm. He was startled, but told us to stay where we were. He went further inside the house, praying out loud as he walked down the hall towards our bedrooms. And he suddenly went quiet. The fuck? The praying stopped. A few seconds passed, and he hauls ass outside and tells my mom that he couldn't bless the house. Oh my God.
Yeah, you know what? Good. Because I mean, not good, but because I'm like, I had issues with this.
You know, at first I was like, all right, because the pastor's always coming in. Everyone,
right.
It's the equivalent. It's the Christian equivalent of saging your home.
Right.
You bring in the holy water. You bring in the holy man. He does his thing, and that's fine. And if it helps make the people in the house feel better, or if it actually banishes demons or whatever the fuck it's supposed to do, fine and dandy. But I love the fact that shit's going ba-bam, 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 full-on poltergeist. Right. And he's like, no, I'm going further in the house. I'm going to pray.
Yeah.
And then, like 3 seconds later, the prayers stop, the bullshit ends, and he's like, the fuck. I can't help you.
Yeah,
I'm out.
I'm out. Right.
Good luck, you're fucked.
Good luck,
See
you're
ya.
fucked.
Exactly.
Oh, what did he see? What happened?
Dude, keep going. There
Oh,
you
well,
go.
here, I just asked the questions, and now Nicole's going to answer them. He saw something, but wouldn't say what he saw. Come on, dude. Well, I guess it makes it worse, the demon of your mind.
Yeah.
It must have been bad to make him forget his faith and bail on us.
Right.
Exactly.
He told us never to speak with him about it ever again. You are the shittiest pastor in history. Well, you're not.
Yeah, you
If
kinda-
didn't molest people, I guess you're better.
You
but you're still
fucking-
pretty shitty.
You totally flaked on these people. Well, I mean, you were there, but you're like, I'm out. And like,
Yeah,
you're fucking
literally,
done.
and
what's
then
the
you're
worst thing
like,
you
don't
saw?
talk to me.
Like
Yeah.
Satan. Like that's the adversary that you're fighting against anyway.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you fucking show up with your papal shit all tight?
Yeah.
Well,
like,
it's not papal if it's Christian. A pastor isn't
whatever.
papal. That's a
show
Catholic
up with
thing.
Show up with your cross and your waters and your things of incense and your fucking breads and your wines and fucking
and you're Martin Luther.
yeah, make shit happen. I don't know.
Christ.
Put on some magic underwear. Fuck it. Whatever you got to do.
Whatever you got to do.
Get the fucking
if you're
demon
a
out of the
Latter-day
house.
Sainter.
This is what you signed up for,
Exactly.
dude. Show up.
Yeah, banging cupboards and you're a man, you go to the bedroom, what is it? I mean, what?
Show up.
The 14 vaginaed succubus? What fucking threw you off your game?
That's a lot of
oh,
vaginas.
oh.
Jesus.
Well, I mean,
What's
if
a
it was
vagina?
only 12,
I mean, is
he
it-
probably would have handled it.
is it like 14 and like a
Maybe.
leg? Like what's there?
I just don't
like
know.
2 arms and 14
maybe it was
vaginas?
a hydra, but instead of heads, it was vaginas.
Oh,
Whoa,
there it is.
weird.
Hydrogina.
Hydrogina. Yeah.
Hydrina.
Weird. It's a lot of ginas.
I don't know. We're gonna work it out.
Hydrina.
Hydrina.
Vahydra.
Isn't that a plant? Really, a hydrina?
It sounds a lot
It's
like
a
something
plant.
you would buy at Dickman Farms.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to buy Hydrina.
I'm gonna
All
go there
right.
tomorrow and ask him. You got any gina plants by any chance?
Where's your hydrinas?
Yeah, exactly.
I need at least 7 free floating. All right. So what really fucking pisses me is he told us never to speak with him about it. So it's like, not only do you bail, you're shitty, you don't help your parishioners, but you're like,
sucks.
I'm going to continue to minister to this flock. Don't you bring this shame of mine up again.
Don't-
Fuck you.
Get your bag of fuckery out of here.
Yeah, how do you continue on with your shit, though?
Yeah.
Say you see something that challenges what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you just book because...
How do you live with
You
yourself?
can,
Exactly.
Yeah, how do you go up and be like, oh...
Like, if you
in
die...
the name of the baby, have this bread. I'm like, knowing that you just saw
in the
either
name-
the
sweet-
count
Yeah, really.
Yeah, exactly.
being like, hey, guys.
Sweet baby Jesus with a giant Gundam arms. Thank you for delivering us.
baby Jesus with the giant
He's got
Gundam
Gundam
arms.
arms?
Yeah,
First
he's
off, I see that image perfectly, and
baby
it's
Jesus
beautiful.
with giant Gundam arms. I
Oh
think
my
Chris,
God.
Chris coined that phrase at one point.
I did?
That needs to
Yeah,
be in
yeah.
a manger
Baby Jesus
immediately.
with Gundam arms?
Yeah, or giant baby Jesus with little baby Jesus with the giant Gundam arms. I'm pretty sure that's you.
Oh,
Can we,
all right.
Can we build
Nailed
one next
it.
Christmas?
Sure.
And then put it up where people can see it?
Yeah.
Oh, we're making
Little-
a manger.
A little
Oh, yeah.
manger with a little tiny baby with Jesus, but he has giant
Our
Gundam
fucking
arms.
half tokusatsu nativity?
Yeah.
I think it'll be
Oh,
great.
fucking totally. Yeah. All right, before we
Yeah.
get,
All
before
right,
we get into
before
that,
we fall
save
down
it.
a rabbit
Fucking
hole.
save it. All right. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, none of us are impressed with this guy. I think that goes without saying.
Nice sucks every.
He fucking,
He's fucking sucks.
At least if you have the confidence of your faith, I don't necessarily believe what you believe, but you're trying to help fuckers out. This guy is a fucking piece of turd.
Yeah.
Every
No.
bag of sock that could ever be sucked, he
Okay.
sucked.
We were extremely happy when we finally moved.
Thank
I buy
God.
that.
Whoops.
But we weren't out of the woods yet, of course. Yeah, too soon. A few things happened after we moved into the new rental house. I still saw the shadow lurking in my doorway and occasionally sitting on my bed. One extremely frightening thing happened to my brother. Our bedrooms were now upstairs. Stairs don't help.
No.
Stairs just don't help.
Not at all.
Okay. And I had to walk through his room to get to the stairs. Weird layout, but okay. I got up to go pee one night and walked through his room to go downstairs to where the bathroom was. A few minutes later, I heard him running down the stairs yelling for me. I came out of the bathroom and he told me to show him my teeth.
Oh, man.
The fuck is
It's a
this
Lady
gonna
Gaga song, right? Show me your teeth. I'm pretty sure. Sorry. Continue.
No idea.
It is definitely a Lady Gaga song.
Okay.
I thought he was crazy.
For Lady Gaga, he was crazy. Show me your fucking teeth.
But I saw how upset he was, so I smiled.
Weird.
He looked relieved. When I asked him what was wrong, which, has to come real hot on the
Yeah,
heels of
what
that
the fuck is
incident.
going on?
Yes. Exactly. He said he saw me go down the stairs. Then he said that he saw me go down the stairs again.
Ooh.
He said that he sat there for a second and ran to the top of the stairs and yelled at the second me to stop. He said that I turned around and looked at him, and he just knew that it wasn't me. He told it, "You're not the real Nicole." He said that. It smiled, and when it did, it had the grossest, most rotten smile.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
gross. I know.
Scummy teeth. That's the
Yeah.
second time. There's something
Yeah.
about scummy teeth that get under everyone's skin, I think.
Yeah, 'cause they
I
look
think it's one of the
painful.
most terrifying things
Yeah.
about zombies, to be honest. Like
teeth.
pretty toothed vampires, that's why everyone wants to fuck them.
Yeah.
That's not scary, that's
Don't forget-
seductive.
don't
but
forget-
classic vampires with their rot tooth and their snaggle ass shit,
Don't-
that's
Yeah.
horrible.
Don't forget the handsome werewolf, the fucking werewolves too. They're fucking handsome and got nice teeth too.
Rotten teeth are terrifying.
How's the guy's name? Was it Jacob? Was that his name?
Team Jacob.
Was it
Come on.
who was the vampire?
Fucking Edward.
I sucked.
Grow up.
Jacob was way cooler.
Learn the fucking
I
pop
know.
culture
I
of
didn't
your
even
era.
remember
I don't
that.
remember.
I would have eventually.
Everybody wanted to fuck vampires.
Everybody.
And at the time, I wasn't
Everyone
a vampire.
wanted to fuck a twinkle vampire so hard.
Yeah, well, they made them all like, you know.
Well, because they're immortal
Yeah.
and pretty and
Interview
perpetually
with the
seducing
Vampire, I think,
17-year-olds
did it
while you
first.
still go to high school. What's
Weird.
up, 300-year-old?
Yeah,
you
weird.
fucking
Yeah.
super pedo.
Totally.
But that's definitely a digression.
All
All
right.
right. So fucking false Nicole had a shitbag grin. He said it rounded the landing and he chased after it. Balls. Full on courage to this
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, totally.
He was scared because I was down there and he thought it was going to get me. But it disappeared. Now that's a good big fucking brother. Like, I know I've thrown some motherfuckers up against lockers back in the day when they teased my little sister. You know, because I was a big man, I could fucking be a protective older brother. That's fine. But when you see a supernatural entity that looks just like your sister with a shit-toothed grin, and you're like, this motherfucker is not going to replace my sister who's taking a fucking leak, and you book down the stairs to beat it up, full props to this
Yeah,
guy.
that's what you gotta do.
That's brotherly
What
love.
being a brother's all about, right there.
Okay. The Shadow Man followed me from house to house for years. Is that the same as the Count Von Count, or is that a different thing?
hold on. We're heading back there.
Okay. Up until my mid-20s. That's too long.
It's a lot.
He visits here, his visits were less frequent and finally stopped altogether. I think he finally got bored with me after a couple of decades. Oh, that's it?
Yeah,
That's
Jesus
it? You know,
Jesus
no
Christ,
big
yeah.
deal. Yeah.
Ugh.
I'll end here. I know this was long, but we had so much happen to us. This was just a small part of the terror we endured. It's too much. If it's only a small part, I don't... You and fucking Diego and a handful of others need to start a support group. You got to be
Seriously?
there
Yeah,
for
I
each
know,
other
right?
because it's tough. We all had our own spirit/ghosts that bothered each of us. I'm so glad that my parents went through this with us. I couldn't imagine growing up through this and having parents that didn't understand or believe us. We were literally just talking about that. What a huge boon it is to have a support system. Even if they're not experiencing it,
So-
support your fucking kids and their beliefs.
As
Yeah.
opposed to earlier when she was attacked by the razor, it seems as though throughout the years her parents were like, yes, no, something is
and
really
you know,
fucked up.
The mom might not
Which
have been
I don't
trying to
even know
like
how-
shit on
how
her
do you-
experience, just trying to protect her.
I don't know
from-
how the fuck I would even deal with that as a parent. Like, what the
Oh,
fuck
what do you
you do? Yeah.
What do you do?
I couldn't
You just do
imagine
your
it's
best.
yeah. It's
And yet, you know what? You
Christ,
get your kids
scary.
help, even if it's psychological help. If you don't, you know, I'm not. Parents are. Our listeners that are parents are usually loving, doting, open-minded people, obviously. So I'm preaching to the choir here. But if you have a kid, even if you think it might be in their head and they're suffering, you still do whatever it takes to make them feel loved, supported, and put them in a place to get better, regardless of whether or not it's a genuine paranormal event or something else is fucking happening.
Right.
We never told anyone as we didn't want to be ridiculed. It is an incredibly insane account, but it all happened. Thanks, Nicole. Thank you, Nicole.
No, thanks for sharing
it. But she adds an addendum.
She sent out. So this is what happens. We got the story and I'd saved it, and then she sent us an email. I think it was like last week or the week before, and I'm like, oh, cool. There's a follow up to a listener story, and I don't normally read everything that we get. I like to save them and give them to you so that you can kind of surprise
Right, of
us all.
course.
But then this is why I don't read them, because then I'm like, fuck. So do it.
Okay, all
It's-
right.
Yeah.
Hello again. So sorry to bother you. I don't know if you have gotten around to my email that I sent on some of my experiences, but it just occurred to me that I should have elaborated on something about Von Count. Arguably my new favorite paranormal figure.
Yeah.
Not favorite in the sense that it tormented Nicole, but favorite in the sense that
Why that?
He's so shitty.
Yeah.
He's so shitty. Well, I'm on Sesame Street. Hey, what's up?
1, 2, 3.
Hey, what are you gonna do, huh?
He
I know the Snuffleupagus
talks
guy.
like this. One, ha ha.
Yeah, I can't do a shitty Bela Lugosi.
You gotta-
I
alright,
do
you
a
gotta- you gotta
really,
try.
really shitty Brooklyn. That's what I do.
You do almost a little bit of Jersey in there. A little bit of Jersey.
Everyone has that accent.
Elaborated on something on Count Von Count. He wasn't a ghost or an apparition. He was flesh and blood. Oh,
Dude.
okay.
No,
He couldn't just disappear. He had to physically leave the house.
What the fuck?
And he did it through my bedroom window.
What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. Now think. All right, it's Randy.
Dude, this fucking
Count Von Randy.
I was ready to call the cops. I'm like, we need an investigation.
Yeah, see, this is
No, this is a cold
this
case file.
changes everything.
It does. All right. Continue.
I was like fucking wearing like Halloween. All right.
Yeah. All right.
My parents left my window and other windows open at night because it was nice out and they liked having them open.
Bad idea.
You could do that back then without worrying about crime.
Nah.
Apparently not.
Yeah, really.
Apparently fucking not. Okay. They made me keep it open because they didn't want me getting hot at night. Yeah, I
fans.
guess. Yeah. And I couldn't tell them why I wanted it closed. I told my parents about him after the first night, and they thought it had been a bad dream. The next time he came, he told me that if I said anything to them, he would kill our pet cockatiel. Oh,
Exactly. The family pet of all things. Like, I'm going to kill your cockatiel.
wow.
I'm going to kill your cockatiel. I can't do it, but
You did it well.
Yeah, all right, it's close.
I don't know how he knew, but I didn't say anything about it again. Oh, poor Nicole. And I never had a good enough excuse for them to close my window. Just close the fucking window. Just after they go to bed, close the fucking window.
Just say, hey, I'm not that warm.
There's a
close the
fucking
window?
dude dressed like the Count coming in here. He's going to kill the cockatiel, and he's trying to get me to come with him.
Yeah. Sail, the cockatiel.
Yeah. Salvatore. Of
course it is.
Salvatore,
What else
the
do you name a cockatiel?
Yeah, it's like,
okay.
hey, I'm a fucking cockatiel.
It's Sal. Classic Sal.
Sounds like he scratches his cockatiel balls. Yeah, fucking cockatiel.
The fucking shadow went over there.
I'd like to see this fucking try and kill me. Yeah. Good effort.
Yeah, fuck you, Count Von Count. Toucher Von fucking Toucher. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, I'm making him sound like Joey Diaz, for Christ's sake.
What the fuck? I know,
We
right?
will continue with this account. I never saw him come in because I was sleeping. Yeah, you're a child.
Yeah,
You're
Jesus
supposed
Christ.
to be sleeping. But I was always awake when he left.
Oh,
I can
God.
still see him climbing up the window sill and his skinny little legs straddle it before going out the window. I don't know how to classify him. Was he some kind of cryptid? We did have a creature at the house. That's a whole other ball game.
Oh, come on, Nicole. You got to tell us about the
Honestly,
creature.
Nick,
Jesus
how
No,
you know?
creatures. We did have creatures at the house.
Yeah, creatures. Okay,
All right, so now we got multiple cryptids we're going to need a follow up. Obviously, when we do 11, sometime down the line. But I don't know what to call him. I just know that he wasn't a ghost. Again, sorry to bother you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Oh, you're
yeah,
so
it was
sweet.
very nice how she ended
Oh,
it.
and
Like,
sorry about
I
the
was-
horrible syntax. It is not horrible, Nicole.
No, not at
You're
all.
a fine writer.
Not at all.
What I'm. All right,
The,
so
the follow-up email really fucked me
we
up.
have
No,
to be
that is a game changer.
open
Yeah.
to the possibility that this, at least in part, stopped being a paranormal event and became
Well,
The Creeper Man is actually a Creeper Man.
a creeper man.
yeah. Well, also too, though, it is possible that you
With
could
bad teeth.
You could have a paranormal event happening and also have a fucking creeper guy at the same time.
Absolutely.
it is a possibility.
It's 100%. I mean, the doppelkohl
Right.
that was, the shit-toothed fucking doppel sister
Well,
that went down the stairs is obviously not creeper man.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's
but
weird.
the creeper man is. But the difference is she does make a distinction. The creeper man is not Count Von Count. Count Von Count is something totally
Oh,
different.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, totally different. So you've got the fucking the shadow thing. You've got the fucking creeper man, and then all of a sudden, Count Von Count shows up, who's a real fucking dude. Which again, she does state that she's like I don't know how to classify it. Like, is it a cryptid? Is it?
I mean, it
some
still could
animal.
be. All right.
It could
in
be.
all
It could be
fairness,
fucking Randy from down the street again.
Exactly.
Pedo fucking Randy.
Yes, we can't.
No, we
ignore
can't.
that possibility. But it still could be some sort of paranormal manifestation
It-
that
well-
just doesn't fall into the ballpark of ghosts. Classic vampire,
I mean-
obviously. Unless it's the shittiest.
Yeah,
I mean, the
classic vampire.
shittiest vampire.
But
I mean,
the weird
I mean,
thing
it wasn't invited in.
But what it uses to get to her is Count Von Count from fucking Sesame Street. So it knows, obviously, she's a kid.
For the record, it's just called the Count from Sesame Street. You know that it's not Count Von Count.
Well, I'm calling him Count Von Count from now on.
Yeah,
From-
But that's not what he's
Yeah.
called on Sesame Street.
no, that's not what they call him. But I think it might be his actual title is Count on Count, though.
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
maybe.
I think
is
that's
it?
his actual
oh,
name.
I think
okay.
so,
Then
yeah.
I'm wrong because I mean, granted, I haven't watched. Well, with my great
Right.
nephew, I watch a pile of Sesame
Yeah,
Street.
they just call him the Count, but I think that's his.
I never knew that was his full. All right, so now I'm even more confused.
Exactly.
So,
So-
did this guy look like
the Count.
the,
The
fucking
Count.
puppet
From
Yes.
but with shitty grown-up teeth?
But yes,
Yes.
but with like
But
real
it was a
shitty
physical.
teeth.
All right, so now my tits are blown completely clear off
Calm your tits.
As all of ours are.
because I was
I
imagining.
witnessed Chris's tits explode.
My tits
Like
left
some-
like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, no,
I don't
no,
even
we're-
know
we're
where
all
they are.
Free in 23.
Yeah, they're in the driveway.
I have to reevaluate life.
Dude, when I got this email and thank Nicole again, thank you for sharing
no,
your
it looks
Yes,
like the
Nicole.
fucking
experience.
puppet.
It's
But
the
holy
fucking
shit.
puppet, but it's
a dude.
See, I saw this creepy old dude with like shitty fucking fang teeth, fucking pretending to be the Count or saying
No,
like
that's
it.
what it is. It's a dude.
I'm dumb.
No, that's why she said it
Nicole,
looked just
Nicole
like
said
him
it.
except for
I-
teeth, yeah.
my mind just refused to accept that fucking Jim Henson's
Yeah, no,
delightful childhood parody of Bela Lugosi that loves to fucking teach you how to fucking count
Yeah.
to double digits is somehow
Yeah.
fucking in your shit
Yeah.
and a potential toucher.
That's why I was
Yeah.
saying it's a weird Cronenberg movie.
It's a weird-
'cause
yeah, it
got
turns
really.
Meet the Feebles by Peter
It's-
Jackson.
yeah,
It's
that
fucking
too.
Seriously, it is. So
Nicole.
I think that I think what we have here is but again, she did state that she thought this maybe could have been some sort of cryptid or maybe some sort of not a humanoid entity.
you have to start thinking Tulpa for real at this
well
point.
that or I
because
mean
it's a fictional creature made manifest.
yeah well or maybe it is just some I don't
Why
know.
though? Out of nowhere though? Why though?
Or an ultra-terrestrial in the sense that it's assuming a form that
Trying
is
to get her to
comforting at
come-
first.
yeah, with trying to
like,
get-
ha, I'm doing this, ha, and
Yeah.
then just like,
Yeah, but it does. Why couldn't it just be some sort of assy goblin?
the assy, I like the assy
Things that
goblin.
fucking spell. If you just
no, but a child would be terrified of that. A child's not
mean,
maybe
if
going to be
it's
terrified by a cast member of Sesame
yes,
Street.
but if you have the charm spell and you make them see what you want to see,
Yeah.
yeah, why not go for Kermit? Why not go for something really sweet?
Bert and
maybe
Ernie.
she doesn't say she disliked the Count.
No,
She
I
just-
love the Count. In fact, the Count was my favorite because it
See?
was the one with the horror motif.
Right.
So I love the Count.
She didn't specifically say her ties to Sesame Street or the Count.
No.
Maybe that
So-
was maybe she. Maybe
It
that
would,
was her
Nicole, it would be interesting if you could send us just a follow-up how familiar you were with Sesame Street, how well you liked the
Yeah,
Count, if you
right.
think
Was it a
that
thing,
your
or-
intentions might have played into this.
So with all this paranormal stuff that she has happening, obviously the shadow figure and then the fucking creepy man, it's almost like it's like escalating. So
absolutely.
it starts with this, but again, I guess I'm wrapping these entities into being behind, like with having like one intelligence behind them. So by saying like, all right, you got the shadow thing, it pushes her mom. All right, then all of a sudden you get the creeper man who's just kind of there, kind of like fucking with you.
Right.
But then it kind of jumps
Yeah,
to
the hands
the
through
hands
the
through-
fucking
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the eyes,
which
and you can
it's-
see the light coming down. Oh,
It's almost like to
it's
me.
like Squeeze from the X-Files.
If
It's a
this is
horrible vision.
all connected to me, it sounds like it's just escalating more and more and more to the point where if the Count Von Count is not some fucking local neighborhood creeper and or I don't know some weird entity, maybe it could be tied to it where it is an extension of whatever this is that's fucking haunting her.
Let me read this again because for my own sake, because I saw like like an old dude like John Zachary pretending to be fucking Count Von Count. In my own perspective, let me do this again. Probably the most strange and horrifying thing was the nightly visits from Count Von Count. So the fucking actual Muppet. Yes, that Count Von Count. He looked just like him. I'm a moron, so there it is. Except for the little fangs that the TV Count had. This Count had what I described at the time as grown-up teeth.
Yeah.
They were human teeth
Yeah.
in a Muppet. Oh, kind of crooked and looked like they needed a good cleaning.
Yeah.
No, but the way that she describes the Count as being flesh and blood. So I think it's Count Von Count, but like in human form.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you think it's puppet?
I think she meant literally nightly visits from Count Von Count. Yes, that Count Von Count. He looked just like him.
Okay, well,
so
you know
I
what?
was an idiot. But I think it looked like a Muppet with human teeth. Who for
That's
a week
even
shows up in her
creepier.
bedroom at night, sitting on the foot of her bed on his hands and knees, and would pull up the blankets and squeeze her feet hard and pinch her fuck-sucking toes.
You know what? It is
because it's the fucking worst.
You can interpret it both ways.
You
You
could,
can
yeah.
interpret it as he looks like the purple Muppet.
Right.
That's
he-
how I'm interpreting
or he
it
looks
now.
just like a flesh and blood human, but looks exactly like
Count Von
what a
Count.
human version of the Count.
But she also
would
talks
look
about
like.
seeing his weird little tiny legs climbing in and out of the
Yeah,
fucking.
no,
That is true, but
the
the-
tiny,
but the-
I'm almost positive, and I understand what Chris is saying. I'm almost positive she's saying he looks just like
No,
the
that's
Muppet,
how I first
with the
took it.
exception
Yeah.
of the shitbag teeth.
Right.
Yeah, that is how I
the
first
little
took
legs
it.
crawling through, and you know, but his
Which is
little
e-
Muppet hands
Which is even
hurting
worse.
your
Is it,
feet.
what's worse that we thought that it was a grown up adult toucher, or that it's an actual active Muppet, puppet, whatever it is. Is he considered? He's not.
It's
He's not a Muppet.
something-
He's a puppet.
Whatever it is, this has to be a classic example of the thing that is malicious, somehow needs to be invited in or wants to charm you into doing whatever heinous shit it has in mind, and it can cloud your mind just the way gray aliens can cloud your mind, just the way demons allegedly can cloud your mind, just the way ultra-terrestrials can allegedly cloud your mind, into seeing something that it thinks that you will be more comfortable with.
Yeah.
But it almost certainly doesn't look that way, and somehow it missed, or its mesmer skills did not fucking
Right.
apply to its fucking denture.
So just for clarification, Nicole, if you are listening, please email us and let us know if this is a man dressed as the Count or if it is actually a fucking puppet.
Did you
A
ever
flesh and blood
even once
puppet.
try to just close your window?
Right,
Because your
let
parents
us know.
wouldn't have known.
Right.
Like literally, like after like a week or two of this shit happening to me, I'd been like,
I would have boarded it
I'm
up.
gonna at least close it. Like
The minute one puppet comes in my room, I have a knife. Like, and it's on.
Oh, I used
will
to sleep with
stab
knives
the
under my
fuck
pillows.
out of a puppet.
Just in case.
I
You told me
never
about
did
that, and it's fucking
Yeah.
terrifying. So anyway, Nicole, let us know so just so we can clarify if this is a man who is pretending to be Count Von Count, or if it is in fact the fucking puppet of the Count with weird human teeth.
Either way, man.
It's
oh my
fucked.
god.
yeah, either way, it sucks.
My
Which
heart
I guess
goes out to you so much.
either way, I guess whatever, previously I had said that this was like that this thing is escalating to whatever. So whether it was a man as
So
the
let's-
Count
let's
or
look
if it's
at-
the
yeah,
Muppet.
but let's go back to the
But
addendum.
if it's physical and it has to use the laws of physics and
Right,
leave
then,
out
then
a
it wouldn't
window,
be paranormal, yeah.
Here
Yeah, that
it
makes-
is.
Because the shadow person pushed her, and then the thin man's living under the fucking deck. The creepy man,
the
the
worst.
creeper.
the creeper man.
I don't know if you got around to the email. Okay, so I'm going back to her addendum. It just occurred to me that I should have elaborated on something about Von Count. He wasn't a ghost or apparition. He was flesh and blood. So I can see now where we're a little confused.
Yeah,
on
we're
That's
still
what I
a little-
mean. That's
yeah.
right, right,
It's all
right.
right though. She'll email
he
us and let us
couldn't
know.
just disappear. He had to physically leave the house. I think
that just means he's
I
corporeal.
think that she's
Right.
corporeal. Exactly. Perfectly
Yeah.
said. That she's waking up and seeing this fucking thing who is abusing her feet, which is just, as a guy with super sensitive feet, like, you touch that shit and I might kick you into another fucking dimension. If you just don't fuck around. You're pinching and squeezing and being
Yeah.
a douche bandit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then she always watches you scuttle out with your little Muppet fuck. I don't even know how the Count's legs look.
I don't think we've ever seen it. I mean, normally it's just a guy's hand up his ass controlling him. So, but overall, I think this is my theory on this was that this is all some sort of weird interconnected fucking
phenomenon.
Like just terrorizing this fucking family. Obviously, her parents, I think, obviously came around to it. They witnessed her, her mother was helping her get bandaged after she was cut up by the thing. So, like, what the fuck? As a family, what
the
do you
razor
do?
blade.
Yeah, but as a family unit, what the fuck? As a father, I would be fucking terrified and extremely fucking angry.
If Ed was talking about fucking Muppets coming into a room with shitbag teeth,
Oh my
pinching
god,
your feet,
dude!
I know.
The amount of dumb shit I would do to that fucking puppet would
you
be
would be up
unbelievable.
at the foot of her bed in a chair,
Yeah, exactly.
armed with sundry kitchen
There
knives
would be
and whatnot.
there would be all types
Something.
of infantry.
Yeah.
Be multiple people.
You'd have lights on every corner of your house.
Yeah, exactly. Helicopters, dogs, snowmobiles out of
Helicopters?
season. What are you gonna do?
Snowmobiles.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know but this one and Diego's these two stories fucking freaked me the fuck out.
Fucking lest we forget, fuckface in the goddamn ladybug outfit.
The original
the
Cronenberg.
original, the creeper
Just
man.
with
yeah.
the antenna, and they're like, hey, and then you know
Yeah,
what?
the
You know what
weird-
creeps me out the what creeps me out the most by far, even though the Muppet is a horror show,
I forgot
is
about the
obviously under the
ladybug.
porch with the wiggle fingers. Because you know what? I'm always creeped out. Spaces creep you out. Spaces you can see through are terrifying, whether it's the slats and open basement stairs or in a porch. And if you see eyes looking up at you and like a
Yeah, no, it
shitty
sucks.
grin and fingers coming up, that's the worst. But him standing in a flooded backyard. I used to play in flooded back. We lived way low on a street. And so when it flooded, but to me it was not, like a sewage nightmare. It was like a big fun party of,
Yeah.
mud puddles and whatnot.
Yeah.
To see some weirdo standing out there beckoning to you, ruining your good fucking time, ruining everything. There's definitely a shitty Epstein vibe to a lot of this. It really is. There's no other way of putting it. I mean, I'm not saying
Yeah.
they did anything, but I want to punch it.
Yeah, no,
And it's fucking weird face.
both of these stories really fucking got to me because it's like kids that are fucking traumatized.
Oh, God,
and
yes.
just tormented by this fucking terrible evil shit. Like, I mean, honestly, I think that's the way we're gonna close it.
Yeah, we
right
have to.
there. I mean, that's it. That's fucking. It was a lot.
It's a bad scene,
It was a lot.
and it's their
Nobody's fault.
Nobody's
Oh,
fault.
yeah. Nobody's fault.
Yeah,
These kids are
it's
perfectly
these
fine.
Deadly
like,
apparitions' fault. I know the punk rock reference aside.
yeah.
It's not everybody's fault.
Yeah, no. So, you know what? That is how you close out listener stories, episode 10.
The final,
Jesus
final episode
Christ.
for a while. The three of us back together in our new proto studio, as
Yeah.
we call it. It's fucking. It felt right.
It did.
Honestly, I
did.
missed this so
Oh,
fucking
totally.
much.
Oh my god, yeah. It's not seeing you guys obviously suck, but not potting with you guys is hard because we've obviously been doing this for a while separately now. But it's nice to get back together.
And thank you to our listeners for enduring it.
Oh,
'Cause,
Jesus
it's
Christ,
been,
I know.
It's
Yeah,
been
it's
like
been a while.
beta version for we've been doing our best.
Yeah.
But obviously it's fucking tough.
Yeah.
And so it's back to the way it should be. Thank you all for enduring this. We know we've all been going through a really tough time, and obviously the horror show for America and the world is not over yet in terms of the pandemic, but we're just going to keep plugging away. We're going to keep doing this stuff. Thank you for being there for us, and we're going to try to be there for you. And thank you, Nicole and Diego H.
Nicole H and Diego
Multiple
H.
H's.
There you go.
Because first off, it takes a lot of courage to share stories like this. Secondly, it takes a lot of courage to recover from something like this. And so regardless of what may have happened or may not have happened in all our speculation, our hearts go out to you as human beings because it is a tough fucking road to hoe. And you guys showed a lot of courage in both enduring it and being able to share it.
Yeah,
So thank you.
definitely.
And thank you everyone that shared these stories with us. We're eventually going to do them again at some point. But it's been great, and it's really helped us get through this like tough spot.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
absolutely.
Yeah, so there you have it. Thank you all so very much for joining us. As always, the Instas and the Twitters and the Facebooks, hit us up there. Facebook group is dope. Check
Dope
it
as
out.
a pope on a rope.
Shout outs to our admins that hold that shit down for us. Thank
Absolutely.
you so very much.
You're the bestest in the West.
To get a hold of us directly, obviously just DM me on probably the best way to get me is Insta or Twitter. I'm
and
always there
just for the
hanging out.
record, when you send me a Facebook message, I will get back to you within 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I am not a
Yeah,
dick.
that's good.
I am just super negligent.
Rob's never really on the socials because when he is, he has like 3 hours of activity that pops up in my timeline. I'm like, oh, Rob's
and I
on
do
Facebook.
it.
Yeah.
I do it hard. I
So-
do it fast. Well, slow fast.
Slow
and then I
fast,
get
yeah.
the fuck out for a
Medium
while.
pace.
So anything generally at a medium pace. A nice Adam Sandler reference.
Yeah.
Wow. So
90s as fuck.
hit me up in the DMs and on the Instas and the Twitters. I'm always there. Patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. Or I think /Kryptonaut. I don't remember.
I don't know how it
Whatever.
works.
Just we're on Patreon.
It's been a while.
never
We'll
gone
get
there.
it. We'll
Yeah.
get it right.
$1 is a shout out, $5 is a shout out, and bonus audio. Thank
Big
you
bonus.
all to everybody. We are actually after this episode about to record our first episode for August.
Yes, we are.
It might be a little Kryptonaut after dark.
Oh,
a little saucy.
the much called for the muy caliente.
Yeah, a little saucy. I think in our Facebook group, it was called upon us to do a little Kryptonite After Dark. So since I figured that we're together again, why not do some After Dark?
No, Skinamax is literally what the paranormal world has needed
Yeah, totally.
since day one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
But before we
has
close it
it.
out, we want to give a very special shout out that we recently came across, and that is our very own Chris Carnacelli, a doppelganger.
Yeah, not me.
A Chris Carnacelli from the West Coast.
Oh,
Now, I saw the Facebook message. It said Chris Carnacelli. In the Facebook picture, their profile was cats. And I'm like, son of a bitch, Chris turned into a cat
Yeah,
finally.
It could possibly
he's been
be, but
threatening
it's
to
not.
transition
This is
for a
Chris's
decade.
final
Yeah.
form is of a cat. So, Chris
That is
recently
true.
found our show, I believe, through Astonishing Legends with Rob's appearance on there. So he figured he'd come over and check out the other Chris Carnacelli.
Yeah.
But the Chris Carnacelli, the doppelganger, the West Coast, or maybe he could be the original Chris Carnacelli. We don't
knows?
know.
Yeah.
He has to have a Carnacelli off.
I mean, if he was born before me, then
Yeah,
he gets.
I mean, he might not even
he
be
gets
the
the prize.
original.
He could
I'm
be.
sure he's not the very first Chris Carnacelli.
He might be.
no.
But this Chris Carnacelli, the one on the West Coast here, it actually has a children's book on
Oh,
Amazon, which I
no
figured
shit.
this episode will be perfect to
Yeah,
plug
no, absolutely.
his children's
Oh,
book.
Somehow, mitigate the
He's
horror
the exact
your kids
opposite
feel.
of me then.
Yeah.
Because I would not have a children's
So you
book.
can check out Chris Carnacelli's children's book on Amazon. It is available. It is the Penny Pendleton Mysteries: The Case of the Missing Holy Grail.
Oh my! A children's book about the Holy Grail?
Yeah, she's an
Wow.
ace detective and she's only 9. Penny Pendleton and her
Oh,
teenage
shit.
bodyguard friend and assistant, Moose McGillicuddy, found out that going to the annual Comic-Con in their hometown of Crabapple Cove is nothing but boring. Looks like someone has stolen the Holy Grail movie cup prop, and it's up to Penny, Moose, and the gathered team of
Oh, the
misfits
movie
to
cup
find
prop,
the
okay.
Grail. There's action, deception, revenge, and all done with a comedic flair. I kind
Good
of
shit.
could see
No, I'm
our Chris
intrigued.
writing this, actually.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Someone
Chris
sold
would
the
write
movie
this.
prop
I
of
could
the
totally
Grail.
see the fucking Arkers doing this.
When fucking Lucasfilm through Disney ends up making this, all I ask, alternate Chris Carnacelli, is that you let us do a cameo as like 3 randos at a fucking Comic-Con or
Yeah,
whatever.
you know what? At the Comic-Con, we're at the table.
Yeah, we're at the table.
And we're talking,
Yeah.
which is what we fucking
Yeah,
do at
and then,
Comic-Con.
people walk by us, and
Yeah,
then,
they
and
talk.
people are like, "Why is there a lingering shot of 3 bearded weirdos
There's that whisper
have no
guy,
fame
the
whatsoever?"
whisper guy who loved
there's
you.
always a whisper guy at a
Yeah,
concert.
then
Always.
there's the Resident Evil cosplay guy.
You know what they whisper to you? What do you think of the Philadelphia?
Yeah.
and
Chris
then I
wasn't
tell
there.
them.
He wasn't there.
I wasn't
I wish
there.
you were. It was amazing. But you know what, Rob? You weren't there to that the Resident Evil cosplay guy explained a lot of what I missed in Resident Evil. He gave me like an hour and a half breakdown.
Oh.
about I
Man,
don't
I'm
know.
so sorry.
Like a whole lot of Resident
You
Evil stuff.
probably were better
You know,
off not
his,
having
his
had that in your
cosplay
life.
though was dope, and
That's
I
all that
appreciated
matters.
the
The whole
information.
team was good. The
whole-
T-Virus
whole-
people or
yeah, the
whatever.
whole team was dope. I forgot
Umbrella Corp or whatever.
Who was he? He was like Whisker or something like that. Isn't
Yeah,
he? Or
I don't
Wesker or
remember.
something? He was cosplaying as Wesker, and he told me the whole. He's like, "Oh, I'm Wesker," and I was like, "I don't know who that is because I haven't played this game since I was
Yeah.
13."
It's funny because they were right next to like the Mandalorian core.
oh yeah,
They were
the
like
Mandalorian
they were just,
mercs.
They were
yeah.
taking people hostage, and you had to pay to get them out.
Yeah,
remember?
I was trying to get. I'm like, "Hey, take me," and they're like, "Nobody wants to pay your fucking bounty, shithead." I'm like, "Fuck you, take me."
yeah. You're useless.
Yeah, you're a podcaster. You're totally useless.
Absolutely.
The deepest cut. Thank you all so very much for joining us, and we'll talking to you soon.
Goodbye, friends.
Oh,
Goodbye.
absolutely.
Thank God we're back together.
Oh,
Holy
it's
shit.
just- It's right.
Yeah.
It feels fucking right.
It actually feels kind of like a new thing now because we got all these
Well,
new
it's
spots.
new
It's
because
great.
of the space, but it's the way it ought to be.
Exactly. All right.
Pacing,
Well,
timing, eye contact,
Oh, I like
love,
Friendship.
Yeah.
footsie,
I can
Christmas.
see
Yes.
Chris's bare feet under the table.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, lust. What? No.
Oh.
Maybe.
Oh,
Who
wait.
knows?
Chris
There's
is-
an undercurrent.
I mean, there might.
Chris's lusty feet.
Yeah.
He has, well, if Chris has one thing, it is lusty feet.
I think
duh.
I told him recently that out of all of our years of friendship, I have never seen his feet.
Really?
Yeah, never.
That's odd.
And now this
Except that we patted for my house for how long?
and I've
and
never saw
yeah.
your feet.
Did you never
No,
look?
like his bare feet.
Because that's
I've
the
never
only
saw
reason
his
you
bare
don't.
feet.
Wow.
I've seen his bare feet.
Look, it's great.
Now I need to see yours.
You never swam with Chris?
No.
You
Have
never,
you?
You never
You've
swam.
not only have I swam with Chris,
Yeah.
he and two other people hopped on my back and I carried them around a pool.
Oh,
He did.
Because I'm a lug.
How did I miss this?
You just weren't there.
All right, we're going swimming. We're talking to you.
Yeah. Goodbye.
See?